Mark Mosley with the doctored kicking shoe has the ball teed up at the 35-yard line to our right, which is the southern end here, and there's been quite a bit of pregame speculation on kicking shoes, Grady.
Yes, I understand that Fred Cox was kicking him into the end zone yesterday and
with a loaded shoe.
Yeah, I'm sure that'd be a welcome surprise to him. We forgot to mention the special teams, John, is certainly a very important factor in this game, and you can just rest assured that the special teams of the Redskins are more than ready to play.
Mosley moves forward. There's the boot, and he squibs it off the side of his foot to the right side. It's caught at the 18-yard line on the far side by Robert Miller. He's across the 30 and upended at the 33-yard line. Pete Wysocki, a linebacker from Western Michigan, downfield to make the tackle for George Allen's special teams. And the Vikings will take it over 1st and 10 on their own 33-yard line. A 15-yard return by Robert Miller, a running back in his second year out of Kansas, who has looked sensational in the last 5 or 6 games of the regular season. We may see a lot of Mr. Miller today. Well, they mark it at the 34-yard line. First down for the Minnesota Vikings. McClanahan and Foreman are the running backs. They line up in a slot to the right side. Sammy White inside Rashad. This will be the first play of the playoff season. Brand goes to McClanahan, trying the left side, breaks a tackle at the 40 to 45, the 50 to 45 to 40, 35, 30, out of bounds at the 25-yard line. Brett McClanahan with the longest run of the year for him. Kenny Houston, the strong safety, the last man between him and the goal line, run him out. Oh, what a play to open the ball game. 42 yards by Brett McClanahan.
Nearly sensational, Joe. Some excellent blocking. The Vikings went strong left that time, something that's a little bit unusual for them. And I have a hunch they're going to attack that left side over there because they don't believe that the right defensive end is that strong a player against the run. Dennis Johnson.
Oh, what a way to open. Slot right, I formation. First down for the Vikes at the 25-yard line, and they give to Foreman up the middle. Oh, he almost spins away. Ball knocked loose. Big pile up, and I think the Redskins have it. Now we'll wait and see what they call on it.
I think they ruled him down.
Oh, he was upended, had one leg sticking straight up in the air. The ball was knocked out of there and rolled back upfield where the Redskins fell on it, but they give Foreman a 2-yard advance to the 23-yard line. Joe Lavender was a man who really cartwheeled him on the play, just when it looked like Chuck might bolt out of there and go the distance.
That was not a fumble because the ball didn't pop loose until Chuck hit the ground. I think he landed right on his elbow and it knocked the ball out.
Second down, 8. A pickup of 2 by Chuck Foreman. The ball on the Redskin 23-yard line. Slot to the right, deuce backfield. Now they drop off the wide receiver Rashad to give to McClanahan. Same play. This time he's hit as he gets across the 20, and he falls to the 18-yard line with Chris Hamburger, the right side linebacker, on top of him. It'll now be third down coming up, and about 3 yards to go. A 42-yard pickup on a burst-off left tackle and down the left sidelines on the very first play from the line of scrimmage by Brett McClanahan of the Vikings. In fact, that comes within 5 yards of the longest ground gain of the year for the Vikings, which Chuck Foreman got against the Eagles. Now, double wing left, Foreman in the slot. Sammy White wide to the right on third down and 3 from the Redskin 18. Fran rolls to the right. Going to put it in the air for the first time. Looking, dusts it over the middle. Stuboy makes the catch inside the 10 to the 5. Still on his feet. He's in. Stuboy bowled over to Washington Redskins. Carried into the end zone for an 18-yard touchdown play. And the Vikes have scored in the first minute and 39 seconds. Harold McClint was the man who wound up flat on his numbers with Voigt carrying it over him into the end zone. Are the Vikings fired up today?
Oh, what a sensational play. Stu caught that ball on about the 7-yard line and turned upfield and just started mowing over Redskins. Incidentally, Joe, he's our post-game guest.
Oh, he'll be having a lot to talk about there. Freddie Cox in now to try for the extra point. Paul Krause will hold. The ball is down. The kick is up. And it is good. And the Vikes have taken an electrifying 7-0 lead in the first 1 minute and 39 seconds of this playoff game over the Washington Redskins. It's 7-0 the Vikes.
Twin City Federal folks know that most of you are working when they're open, and that's why Pass Card Savings Centers are such a good idea. They're located at your favorite shopping places, Dayton's, Powers, Zayre, Shopper City, Red Owl, and Snyder Drugs. And they're open as long as those stores are open, which is many hours every day, including weekends and holidays. What it all means is that you can deposit money in your Twin City Federal Pass Card Savings account at times and places convenient for you, and you can use your money from your savings account to go shopping, and you earn interest on it until you take it out. That's interest-earning cash. A Twin City Federal Pass Card Savings account is a mighty good idea. It takes your savings account and makes it a lot more useful. No doubt about it, this is the age of Pass Card, And Twin City Federal is the pass card leader. Twin City Federal, where the famous twin clocks flash the time and the temperature.
Well, now, Fred Cox getting set to kick off. The Vikes went 66 yards in 4 plays to take a very quick, stunning 7-0 lead over the Washington Redskins. Danny Buggs, a wide receiver out of West Virginia, and Bob Brunet, a reserve running back, are guarding the corners at the 15. And one of their top return men in the league, Eddie Brown, is deep. He led the league in punt returns and was 7th in kickoff returns. Cox moves forward. He hits a low end-over-ender down the middle. And it comes to the near sidelines, and it's going to finally roll out of bounds at the 11-yard line. They'll kick it over again for the Viking 30.
It appeared that Freddie hit that ball just a little bit above center. He doesn't hit the ball too far below center in his normal kicking motion, and it was evident that he was trying to kick it away. He just got it a little bit too high, his toe a little bit too high on the ball.
Is he wearing the new shoe today, Grady?
I can't see from here. I think that was propaganda.
Oh, I do too. I couldn't believe it. Papers were full of it when I got up here. And this time, Cox hammers it down the middle. It's pretty deep. Brown coming over the near side, takes it to the 13-yard line, to the 15, to the 20, up the near sideline to the 25, to the 30, and he bowls over a tackler and gets up to the 38-yard line. Behind the wedge, Eddie Brown bringing it upfield, and it was Woodland Hall and Autry Beeman that made the tackle on the play along with Sammy Johnson. Woodland Hall, of course, came over here in the trade that sent Steve Lawson, an offensive guard, to San Francisco, and he and Nate Allen have turned in some sensational defensive backfield play for the Vikings, and Hall became, of course, the special teams captain for the Vikes. Now the Redskins have it for the first time, a 26-yard return. It's Riggins and Thomas at running back, slot right, the quarterback, Whiskey Kilmer, hands off to Riggins on a power sweep to the right side. He's bowled over at the 39-yard line, a pickup of one. Fowler, left defensive end, riding right over the blocker to knock Riggins down for a gain of 1 on the sweep to the right side. It's 2nd down and 9. And the Vikes look like they came to play today.
I don't think there's any question about it. The players really were excited about playing in this game, a little bit disappointed about what happened to them last year. We're going to see a lot of the Redskins running to the right. They're very much a right-handed team, and they're very much a strong side rushing team, so they run a lot towards the tight end.
Jefferson wide to the left. Grant will be in the slot I formation. The ball at the 40-yard line, 2nd down, 9. Kilmer rolling to the left, gives off to the second man, Thomas, slices up the middle and is knocked down at the 44-yard line by Jeff Seaman, the middle linebacker. There was a flow play designed to come to the left side, and then he delayed just a count or so and gave to Thomas, who tried to go right up the gut. And he picked up about 4 yards on the play. It'll be 3rd down and 5. Thomas scored on a long run last year against the Vikes, which really kind of pushed him over the hump as far as making Rookie of the Year honors were concerned. Now they move into the slot to the right, double wing right. The only setback is Riggins. Here's the call now by Kilmer on 3rd and 5. He drops straight back to pass. Has time. Lobs it over the middle. Caught! But the man is up to the 43-yard line. Holy mackerel! A great tackle by Matt Blair. The pass receiver was the running back, Johnny Riggins, out of the backfield, and he was knocked flatter than a fritter on that play for no gain. It'll be 4th down and 5.
Yeah, what they did, they ran into the double wing, and that was Larry Brown in there. He's the great pass receiving back and has had outstanding years for the Redskins. They ran a delay and hoped to sneak him in, but Matt Blair was not fooled at all by the play, held his ground, had his eye right on Larry Brown, and made the tackle as soon as the ball was caught.
Mike Bragg in the punt, averaging 38.9, 1/10 of a yard more than Catfish Claybo of the Vikes. Willis is deep, with White and Beeman guarding the sidelines. There's the snap, there's the kick, high hanging punt. Willis drifts under it at the 16-yard line. Gives ground, comes to the near side, jukes away from one man, and then dives to the 18-yard line. About a 1-yard return. With 10:53 left to go in the first period, Ted Fritz got down and knocked the props out from under Lenny Willis on the punt return. With 10:53 left to go in the first period, at the Met, the score is 7-0 Vikings. Now this word from the folks at John Deere.
Old man Grizzly lived all alone. Called a miner's shack his home sweet home. He was doing fine till that wintry day. 1,000-ton avalanche like to sweep him away. Things looked bad till ahead of that slab. A little lone sledder yelled, "Let's ride." Quicker than it takes to say it was so. He hopped on that cyclone, told that rider to go. All down that mountain, that snowmobile track, that mean green cyclone brought them both back. This front-mounted engine set low near the skis. It outran that avalanche like a hawk in the breeze. A little while later, old Dan made it clear. Take it from me, nothing runs like a deer. Big John Deere.
Joe McConnell and Grady Alderman back at Metropolitan Stadium in Bloomington on a sun-kissed late December afternoon, and the fans are revved up, and so are the Vikes. They lead it 7-0, going 66 yards in 4 plays of their first possession. Now they have it on the 18. Francis asks for a bit of quiet. Slot to the near right side, deuce backfield. They give to Chuck Foreman, going to try the left side, cuts back into the inside, and does not get much to about the 19-yard line. He picked up a yard as Bill Brundage now has been put in there at right defensive end in place of Dennis Johnson. He's a little bit bigger at 6'5", 270 in his 7th year from Colorado. A great pass rusher. They give him 2. It's at the 20-yard line. It's 2nd down and 8. McClanahan right now has picked up 46 yards and 2 carries, but he got 41 on the initial play from the line of scrimmage. Foreman, 4 yards and 2 pops. 2nd down and 8, and they go to the double wing left with Foreman in the slot inside of Rashad. Wide to the near side is Sammy White. He'll be going one-on-one on Fisher, who's up tight on the line. Francis drops back to pass, looking for Sammy White, throws it all the way down the near right sidelines, overshoots him, incomplete. Fisher was riding White. He wouldn't let him go for the ball as he just held him up. Didn't touch him really, just kind of bumped him a little bit. Kenny Houston was covering deep on the play. It'll be 3rd down and 8 as Francis tried to lob one over the top. Fisher a little bit short at 5'9", 170, but that certainly hasn't hindered him, Grady, in 16 years of play in the NFL.
Joe, everybody tries to pick on Fisher. He's lost the little speed that he had. He's always been a tough little kid, works hard and tries to hang in there, but he has lost some of his speed, so everybody tries to get one past him, and he'll make some interceptions, but they'll get some big plays on him.
Well, they pulled the backer, and they put Brig Owens in as the 5th defensive back in the nickel situation. Again, Fisher playing up tight on Sammy White on a bump and run. Back to pass. Francis shoots it out of there, and it's incomplete.
The ball was tipped.
Yeah, it was tipped, and I think McDowell was the man who got a hand on it. He got good pressure on Francis as Francis set up short, tried to go over the middle. It'll be 4th down and 8, and the Vikes are forced to punt for the first time this afternoon. And Neil Catfish Claiborne, his 2nd year from Tennessee, comes into the game to kick it away. He averaged 38.8 on 69 punts this year. His longest kick was 55 yards. The deep man will be Eddie Brown, who led the entire NFL in punt returns this season. He's had a sensational year. He has returned 48 punts for an average of 13.5, including a 71-yarder for a touchdown. He's back in single safety, and they've got 2 men on Sammy White, the wideout. There's a snap, no rush. There's a kick by Claiborne. He hangs a beautiful high hanging spiral. Brown back to the 37. Runs to the far sideline at the 40. Hit gets away at the 45 to 50. Cuts back at the 45 and is going to be knocked down at the Viking 44-yard line. Eddie Brown on a fine run was almost knocked loose from the football at about the 50-yard line. Jerked that arm away and continued downfield where Windland Hall finally pinned him. But it'll be the Redskins' ball, 1st and 10 in Viking territory at the 44-yard line.
That was about a 16-yard return, which is very near Brown's average. He has been a real plus for this team. He's made some very, very big plays and came within 50 yards of breaking the National Football League record.
Now, double wing right for the Washington Redskins. Here's the call now by Billy Kilmer. Rolls back quickly to the left, shoots it over the middle, incomplete, intercepted. A one-handed grab by Bobby Bryant at the 30-yard line. A diving, one-handed grab. The pass was intended for Johnny Reagan, and Bryant somehow speared it with the left hand before hitting the deck.
What a sensational play, and that's the kind of thing we've seen Bobby do during his career here with the Vikings. He's a little guy, gets hurt some, but golly, the plays he makes. The ball was thrown too far in front of Roy Jefferson, and Bobby just dove for it and speared it with his left hand.
Well, the first turnover, and the Vikes have it at their own 30-yard line. Wide to the left, Sammy White. Wide to the near side is Rashad. Again, Fisher playing up tight in a bump and run situation at left cornerback. Now he drops off a yard or two. Deuce backfield. Francis back to throw. Stays in the pocket. Throws a long one down the middle, and it's intercepted by Jake Scott. He's at the 50, the 45, the 40, twists away, scrambles down to the 36-yard line. Jake Scott, the former all-pro safety out of Miami, picked that one off. It was far underthrown, intended for Sammy White. And right away, the Vikes give it right back to the Skins, and this time Washington has it on the Viking 36-yard line. Oh, this game is turning around quicker than one can imagine.
A lot of action down there.
That's only the 9th interception that Fran has thrown all year. Now, the Redskins will have it at the Viking 36-yard line. And this time they line up in the slot to the left I formation. Riggins and Thomas, the running backs. Behind the quarterback, Bill Kilmer. Kilmer Throws to the right, gives to the second man, Thomas. Off right tackle, inside the 30, down to the 31-yard line, where he's wrapped up by Matt Blair. As we mentioned a bit earlier, Francis set a club season record with an interception percentage of just 1.9. There were 7 games this past season, 7 out of 14 where he was not intercepted, and he also set a club record when he threw or attempted 155 passes without an intercept. Thomas has picked up 10 yards and 2 carries, an average of 5 a pop. It's second down and 4 yards to go. The Redskins on the Viking 30-yard line. I formation to give to the deep man. Thomas going to try the left side, cuts back in. Oh, runs right into Matt Blair and a couple of other Vikings. Hilgenberg was there, and they smash into the turf at the 30-yard line. All 3 linebackers converged on him.
Boy, he took a heck of a lick. Seaman flowed over there to fill the hole. Marshall was still on his feet, had thrown off his blocker, but Seaman laid the punishing lick on Thomas.
Third down now. Big play coming up for the Redskins. Still 4 yards to go.
I think they put in Larry Brown because he is their best pass receiver coming out of the backfield.
The Vikes are 1 of 2 in third down opportunities. This will be the Redskins' second try. They have yet to pick up a first down. Jefferson wide to the right, Grant wide to the near left side. High formation. Now they put Thomas in motion to the right side. Long count by Kilmer. He's going to roll to the right behind Larry Brown. Swings it out the right flat, and it's dropped. Incomplete by Thomas at the 24-yard line. He let it slither through. Incomplete. It would have been a first down. Jeff Wright was covering on the play, but there was very little Jeff could do about that one as Kilmer laid it right in on the button, and Thomas just let it drop. Incomplete. And it's fourth down and 4 yards to go, and the Redskins will try for a 3-pointer. Mark Mosley comes in, and this year he converted on 22 out of 34 field goals.
That last pass was something we haven't seen a lot of. Thomas swung very near the sideline, then started up. He was right on the sideline about 5 or 6 yards up the field. Jeff Wright had a long way to go to cover that pass.
Joe Theismann will hold. The kick will be spotted at the 37-yard line, a distance of 47 yards. There's a kick. He got plenty of distance into it. High, and through. A 47-yard field goal by Mark Mosley. A 47-yarder, and with 8:15 left to go in the first period here at Metropolitan Stadium, the score. The Minnesota Vikings 7, the Washington Redskins 3.
Thinking happy is Christmas with all the songs and decorations and gifts and parties and friends and family and home. At this time of year, the spirit of home is strong in every heart. People love to be home for Christmas. If they can't be there in person, they're there in thought. And the folks at Twin City Federal like to remember this at this time of year. Remember that they've helped thousands of families in all income brackets to buy homes. That's a wonderful kind of think happy business, isn't it? Helping people to buy homes. Well, Twin City Federal is the leader in that business, and they like to think of people everywhere enjoying Christmas with the folks and families that they love in the home they love to be in. And that's why those familiar twin clocks seem to flash just a little bit brighter at Christmas time. A beautiful place to see at Christmas time is the TCF Atrium in the downtown Minneapolis. The 33-foot is magnificent. Decorations are lovely. And there's a concert every noon. And remember, you are invited. The TCF Atrium. It's now 38 degrees in the Twin Cities, 26 minutes past noon.
Well, it wasn't an impressive drive. In fact, it wasn't a drive at all. 6 yards and 3 plays, but Jake Scott's interception gave Washington an excellent scoring opportunity, and Mosley capitalized with a 47-yard field goal that was good by about 8 or 10 yards to spare.
On the interception play, they were throwing to Rashad on the left side, and White was to keep Scott out of there, but he... Hang on.
There's a kick by Mosley, very high in the air, not too deep. And under it is Willis at the 16-yard line, up the middle of the 25, cuts the outside of the 30, now gives ground, and is pulled out at the 32-yard line. And he'd been a couple of steps quicker on that little dip to the outside. When he gave about 3 yards to turn the corner, he might have turned it all the way, but Gerard Williams and Stu Odell got down quickly enough to knock him down at the 32-yard line, about a 14-yard return. Mosley kicks that ball very, very high.
I think he got under that one a little bit more than he wanted to.
Well, we've had plenty of action already, and we still got 8:05 to go in the first period. 7-3 Vikes. Slot to the right side. Now in motion out of the deuce to the left side goes McClanahan. Fran gives to Foreman. Cuts back. Gets a nice inside move and gets up to the 35, maybe the 36-yard line, where the old pro from Nebraska, Ron McDowell, knocks him down. Fisher, McDowell, and Tingelhoff were all teammates at Nebraska. I don't know why they didn't win more football games. In those years, they didn't win too many. That was long before Devaney.
Well, they sure didn't. Devaney came the year or so after Mick left there, and he really turned their program around. Incidentally, Ron McDowell had a tryout with the Vikings way back in '63.
Second down and 6. A gain of 4 for Chuck Foreman. Slot to the near right side. The line of scrimmage, the Viking 36-yard line. Deuce backfield with Foreman on the left. They give now to McClanahan. Starts up the middle and gets nailed right at the line of scrimmage. Coming over the top that time was massive Dave Butts, the former Boilermaker. And he just kind of landed on Brent as he had no place to go. In fact, he lost a couple of feet. Now they pull Butts out of there and put in the 5th defensive back, Brig Owens, an 11-year pro from the University of Cincinnati, in their nickel defense. It'll be 3rd down and 7, a loss of 1 for McClanahan.
Well, what the Redskins did on the last play was use the overshifted line so that they get Butts and his 280 pounds over Tingelhoff and his 230, and the Vikings will have to counter that with some cross blocks and things of that nature.
Double wing to the right. Foreman in the slot. Back to pass. Francis scrambles. Gives ground. Now whips it out on the left side. Caught by Sammy White. Spins away at the 40. Knocked out of bounds at the 42-yard line. He couldn't quite get out of bounds. Joe Lavender finally knocked him down. As White tried to spin away, Chris Handberger, the right side linebacker, was also over there covering. And the score is 7-3 right now with 4th down facing the Vikes. Let's pause briefly for station identification.
This is WCCO, St. Paul and Minneapolis at 8:30. 29 minutes after 1 and 38 degrees.
Make a correction on that completed pass. It went to Stu Voigt, his second catch of the day. The first one, an 18-yarder for a touchdown. Playbo in the punt. Eddie Brown drops back in solitary safety for the Redskins, and this time it looks like they might try to put a rush on. They have only one man on the outside man for the Vikes. Now they bring the second man over, Bill Malenchak. There's a snap by Dumler, and here's the kick by Claybo, a wobbler coming to the near side. They're going to let it bounce. It gets a nice Viking bounce inside the 20. Fielded on the 14 by Brown. Up to the 20. Center steps. Hit by Fred McNeil. And down he goes at the 24-yard line. Claybo with another fine kick. He got a nice roll that time, but it scooted low towards the goal line and took a nice Sunday bounce for Eddie Brown, and he was able to return it about 10 yards. Fred McNeil and Doug Dumler, the man that snapped the ball, made the tackle on the play.
Joe, we aren't too excited about this game.
No, not at all. First down now for the Redskins, just shy of the Washington 25-yard line. 45-yard punt by Claybo. He's hit a couple of beauties so far this afternoon. Grant will be in the slot inside Jefferson to the right. Twin backs of Riggins and Thomas behind Bill Kilmer, the quarterback. Lenny Haas snaps the ball to give to Riggins. Tries the middle, gets nowhere. He is stonewalled right at the line of scrimmage. He ran right into the center of the line. Jeff Seaman, Doug Sullivan, and Alan Page, and had nowhere to go. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
Excellent defense. They stopped the Redskins' charge completely right at the line of scrimmage. Riggins just had no place to go. He is a big back and a fast back. He's really more effective running outside than he is up the middle.
Now Jefferson wide to the left, and they send Grant wide to the right. Grant, their leading pass receiver. High formation. And to give to the second man, Thomas up the middle. Short yardage to the 23. Gang tackle and push back as the Vikings are not going for that delayed draw up the middle, and Seaman and Blair, the two linebackers, were there to put him down. It'll be 3rd down and about 7 yards to go. One big difference, when you look at the two ball clubs, the Vikes throw a lot more often with a lot more success than the Redskins do. They had 4 receivers with 40 or more, while the Redskins had only 1 with more than 28.
Well, that makes for a classic matchup here because the Redskins' pass defense has been the stingiest on percentage of completion during the year, and in fact allowed only 30% the last 3 games.
But the Vikes were the number 1 pass defensive unit for the entire NFL in yardage allowed. Back to pass, Kilmer sets up, throws over the middle, incomplete behind the intended receiver, Mike Thomas, who was covered by Nate Allen. It'll be 4th down and 7, and the Redskins are forced to punt with 4:28 to go in the first period. The Vikes lead it 7-3.
Not much of a pass.
No, it wasn't. It was behind him and low.
Yep, Kilmer had a little bit of time, and it looked like he just pulled the string, hung on to it a little bit longer than he wanted to. It kind of wobbled out and was very low.
Kilmer's completed 1 of 4 with 1 interception for 0 yards. The pass he completed was a no-gainer. In the punt now is Bragg, and back in single safety now for the Vikes is Lenny Willis. They'll rush 10 men, and you can bet they're going to try to block it. Nothing fancy. There's a snap. The rush is on. There's a kick, and Nate Allen just missed it. A high-hanging boomer. And Willis signals for the fair catch at the Minnesota Vikings 33-yard line. Nate Allen put a tremendous rush from the right side and almost got to the kicker.
A lot of effort. Nate timed his jump perfectly. It was just a step too late.
37-yard punt by Mike Bragg. Now the Vikes will have it, and they mark it at the Minnesota 34-yard line. First down. 7-3, the Vikes lead it as they scored in the first 4 plays from the line of scrimmage. Stu Voigt getting the touchdown on an 18-yard pass from Tark when he bowled over 3 Redskin defenders inside the 5. Slot to the near right side, deuce backfield, Chuck Foreman on the left, McClanahan on the right. And Fran fakes to McClanahan, rolls to the right. Wants to go back against the grain. McClanahan has it at the 38 to the 40. Jukes up at the 45. Breaks away and dives out to the 49-yard line. Harold McClinton caught him with the right ankle. He almost pulled it out of the jug and would have had another 15 yards downfield, heading to the far sideline. But a great run by Brent McClanahan on the action pass out of the backfield. Flow right, swing the back to the left side, and he was open when he caught it. It's a first down for the Vikes at their own 49-yard line.
This is the time of year when the Vikings generally try and do some things a little bit differently off of their standard plays, and that's the first time we've seen that play this year.
Rashad wide to the near side, Sammy White split wide to the left. First down for the Vikes. They give him out of Foreman. He's going to try the right side. Cuts back in at the 50, 45, 40, and down to the 38-yard line. A sensational cut by Chuck Foreman, who looked like he was going to come to the outside, turned on a dime, left 7 cents change, folded right up the middle, and got the first down to the 39, where Dennis Johnson finally caught him.
Chuck was really hemmed in. I believe that it was Duzick who was up the field in great shape, and Chuck planted the right foot and really cut it back 90 degrees up the field.
First down to the Vikes at the Redskin 39, a pickup of 12 for Chuck Foreman. Rashad wide to the near side. White split wide to the far left side. And to give to Foreman, tried the left side, cuts back, hurdles one man, goes down at the 35.5-yard line. He was hurdled high in the air that time by Harold McClinton, the middle linebacker, and Kenny Houston, that tough, strong safety out of Prairie View. They mark it at the 35-yard line, a gain of 4. It's second down and 6. The Vikes driving on the Redskins again. Foreman with 24 yards and 5 carries.
Well, Chuck is a very intense player, Foreman that is, and this is about the most intense we've seen him. We have not seen him jump and hurl his body the way he's done in this game.
Slot to the left side now. Deuce backfield. Fran fakes to Foreman. Play action. Back to pass. Swings it out of the backfield to McClanahan. He's got it. And he ducks under the arm and gets across the 30 to the first down territory at the 29. Jake Scott tried to clothesline him. He about shrugged him off, but couldn't quite do it, but he got the extra yard he needed for the first down at the Redskin 29. They're utilizing McClanahan quite a bit today. He caught 40 passes for 252 yards and 1 touchdown during the year, but he had problems on the ground. Even though he gained 382 yards, he averaged only 2.9 a carry. But, of course, his 41-yard jolt on the first play for the line of scrimmage in this game, by far and away his long gainer of the year. Fran is 4 out of 7 for 46 yards. White wide to the right, Rashad wide to the far left side. Deuce backfield, first down for the Vikes on the Redskin 29. They give to Foreman, who trips up and falls to the 27-yard line. He tried to go off right tackle, and Dave Butts got an arm on his leg and tripped him up, but he fell forward for a couple of yards. Now Brundage comes into that front 4 for the Redskins, replacing Butts. Dave Butts at tackle. It'll be second down 8. The Vikes on the Redskin 27-yard line.
The Vikings have generally passed in this situation, but I would not be surprised to see Francis run it. Just because they've got that nickel defense in there and the extra lineman, he's not afraid to test that front 4.
They send Rashad wide to the left and Foreman in the slot to the left. White wide to the near side on a double-wing left formation. The only setback is McClanahan. Now Francis is going to throw. Looks over the middle. Now throws it to the left corner of the end zone. It's headed for Rashad. Knocked away. Incomplete 5 yards deep in the end zone as he and Joe Lavender battle for the ball. Incomplete. It'll be third down and 8 at the Redskin 27-yard line. Rashad was open for a moment. The ball was floated kind of high in the air, and when they both went up for it, Lavender knocked it away.
I think the ball could have been thrown a little bit longer. Francis, of course, didn't know quite where Rashad was, I suppose, and he had about another 8 yards in the end zone. And Francis, had he gotten it a little bit further, would have had a better opportunity for completion.
Third down and 8 at the Redskin 27-yard line. 1 minute to go here in the first quarter at the Met. The Vikes lead it 7-3 on Stu Voigt's touchdown reception from Tarkington. Mosley hammered a 47-yard field goal after a Jake Scott interception for the Redskins. Slot to the near right side. Brand back to pass. Looking. Throws over the middle. Lobs it intended for Sammy White. And a juggle. Did he catch it? He did. Touchdown. A sensational diving, juggling catch. Kenny Houston had his hand on the ball. White dove on the ground. The ball dropped right into his lap. Unbelievable.
Sensational is truly the word, Joe. Houston should have intercepted the ball. It was not zinged in there. It was kind of lofted to let Sammy run under it. Houston made up about 2 yards on White. Got in front of Sammy. Had his hands on the ball. Should have had an interception. Apparently, White jerked it free, and the ball stayed in the air long enough, and Sammy fell down. It came right down into his hands. Sammy rolled over into the end zone for the touchdown.
That is the most incredible catch I've ever seen. 13-3. Red Cox will try to make it 14. They already had it on the scoreboard a moment ago. The ball is down. The kick is up, and it is through. It's a 14-3 Viking lead on one of the most amazing, unbelievable catches I've ever seen. Kenny Houston had that ball intercepted. He dropped it. They collided near the goal line. The ball just kind of popped up in the air. Sammy White hit the deck. It came right down to him. Somehow, he caught it laying flat out on the turf and rolled into the end zone.
Well, Joe, there's an old football expression, better to be lucky than good.
Well, I'll tell you what, all I have to do is remember a year ago at this time. Sammy caught at least one pass in every game, the only Viking player to do so, and of course his 10 touchdown receptions were the most by a Viking since Jerry Ryko, the director of player personnel for the club, set the team record with 11 back in the very first year, 1961. And Jerry is in the booth to our immediate left. 14-3, the Vikes lead it. And I'll tell you what, I want to see the slow-mo instant replay and the films on that catch, because that has to go down as one of the most unbelievable football catches in history. Well, Cox has it teed up. We'll get the length of the drive here in a moment. There's the kick by Freddie. He hammers it pretty good one this time. Eddie Brown waits for it at the 4-yard line. He tries the far side at the 15, cuts to the outside of the 20, 25, and is rolled over by Robert Miller at the 28-yard line. 42 seconds left to go in a most explosive first quarter here at the Met. The Vikes are on top 14-3.
Joe, the length of the drive was 66 yards, and it covered 7 plays, and en route, the Vikings picked up 3 first downs. 2 66-yard drives. And both done in very short order. 4 plays and 7 plays.
Yep. Slot to the right now for the Redskins, and I would think now that Kilmer is going to have to start throwing a little more. Deuce backfield. Yeah, they're going to keep it on the ground to give to Thomas. Going to try to sweep the left side. Cuts back into the 30. Oh, he's hit and smashed at the 32-yard line by Jeff Seaman. Holy mackerel. The Vikings are hitting harder today, and I've seen them hit all year.
I can only say I'm glad I'm not down there. Oh, wow, what a lick Seaman put on him.
It'll be second down. And a gain of 4 on the play, so it'll make it 2nd and 6. And Tom has paid the price on that one. Fugit limped out of there, and that puts Jerry Smith, the 12-year veteran from Arizona State, in at tight end.
Which is not a bad deal. Smith is an excellent receiver and a better than adequate blocker.
And the Redskins are going to go with a double wing left. The 2 wide receivers in the slot to the left, and Thomas split wide to the right. Kilmer rolls quickly to the right side, looking, throws it out on the right flat, caught by Riggins, who is hit by that player, and decked for a loss. Put out of bounds at the 29-yard line, but they'll give him his farthest upfield penetration, which would make it close to the line of scrimmage at the 32-yard line. That's about the 3rd great play by Matt Blair in the first period. And the gun sounds, ending the first quarter of play here at the Met with a score. The Minnesota Vikings 14, the Washington Redskins 3.
You know when premium quality of beer began? Well, in this country, it dates from 1844, when Pabst started as the first of the great Milwaukee brewers. That was a big day for beer drinkers, because Pabst started brewing beer a new way, a premium way. You might say the Pabst people invented premium beer. Pabst quality is not something you just talk about. It's something you can taste. That's why Pabst challenges you to taste and compare Blue Ribbon to any other premium beer. You can taste the quality. Pabst, since 1844.
Joe McConnell and Grady Alderman back at the Met in sunny Bloomington, Minnesota in late December, where the Vikings have stunned, I think, even the home folks, Grady, with their intenseness both offensively and defensively. They've come up with a couple of sensational plays in the pass receiving department. Stu Voigt on a strong, stiff-arm run, and Sammy White on an unbelievable juggling catch of a deflected pass, both for touchdowns, and the Vikes lead it 14-3.
But, Joe, the place where the enthusiasm is most evident is on this defensive team. Boy, these guys are really making some punishing tackles and forcing a lot of things to happen.
I'd have to say that is probably the best quarter the Vikes have played all year, although the first period last week down in Miami would be hard to fault. The Redskins have it at their own 32-yard line. Third down and about 7 yards to go to start the second period. Frank Grant wide to the near side. Roy Jefferson split wide to the left. Larry Brown in the backfield along with Mike Thomas. Gilmer, the quarterback, he drops back to pass. Sets up. Throws a long one down the middle. And the man is over. A diving grab by Jerry Smith, I believe. At the Viking 37-yard line. A sensational extended catch by Jerry Smith, the tight end.
I was afraid of that. He is an excellent receiver, has great speed for a tight end, and they're trying to cover him with a linebacker stride for stride. It's just too much to ask.
Oh, he went as far out as he could and made a great, super extended fingertip catch on that one. First down for the Redskins at the Viking 38-yard line, and that's Kilmer's first gainer through the air today.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad pass either, Joe.
No, it wasn't. Jefferson wide to the right. Wide to the left is Grant. High formation as Riggins is back in there as the short man. The fake, back to pass. Kilmer over the middle. He was hit over Grant's head. And a diving interception by Paul Krasno. Incomplete at the 18-yard line. Kilmer was really bounced on the play by Alan Page. And the ball was a wobbler, and it was overthrown, and Krause tried to shoestring it, but couldn't get away with it.
Oh, I think the ball bounced.
I do, too.
Paul got up to run with it as though he'd made the interception, but he's not too mad about it, even though he did zip the ball over to the official who ruled it incomplete.
Second and 10 for the Redskins on the Vike 38-yard line. This has been some football game this afternoon. The Redskins break the huddle. Wide to the left now is Fugit. Fugit is wide to the left. And a slot to the right, deuce backfield. They have the tight end split. And a give up the middle. Thomas makes a cut, runs into Carl Eller, and goes down at the 37-yard line. It looked like he cut right into the Viking defensive unit, and Sutherland and Eller pinned him down when it looked like Thomas might have been wiser to cut back to the left instead of to the right. And now Brown comes in to replace Riggins in the backfield again on a passing situation. It's third down and 8 for the Redskins at the Viking 36-yard line. Well, the crowd is revved up here at the Met this afternoon as well. They were prior to the ball game. You could just tell there was a bit of electricity in the air.
And if there are any seats here in the stadium, I can't find them. An excellent crowd.
Well,
a beautiful day.
Yeah, there sure shouldn't be because of the weather, if nothing else. Grant wide to the near side, wide to the left now is Jefferson. The Redskins are 1 of 4 in third down conversions, and I believe they took too long. The whistle blew before the ball was snapped, and it'll be a delay of game penalty on the Redskins. A 5-yard walk-off will put the ball out to the Viking 43 and make it third down and 13.
Well, Joe, they couldn't have missed that one 2 weeks in a row.
You're right.
On Miami's touchdown last week, the 30-second clock had run out by at least 4 seconds, and some people have said as much as 5. So the officials are a little bit more on the ball today, and I was a little concerned about that very aspect because prior to the game, the Vikings sent a representative down to synchronize their watches, and the official said, well, it's 24 minutes still, and as our representative walked away, he said, wait a minute, it's only 19. And the official said, yeah, I think you're right.
The Redskins are 1 of 4 in third down conversions. In fact, on that completion to Smith a moment ago, they're only first down of the game. Kilmer back to pass. Being rushed, throws a long one down the left side, and, there's pass interference on Frank Grant. Offensive pass interference as he reached out and hooked Bobby Bryant, who was waiting for the ball to come down at about the 3-yard line.
Well, this is a real dilemma. I don't know what the Vikings would do here.
Well, I think they're out of field goal range. It would be a 60-yard attempt.
Yeah, but it would be a 15-yard penalty, I believe. They would get this ball. They would force the Redskins to take their next snap from center all the way back into Redskin territory.
Well, they're having quite a conversation now. The referee today is Bob Frederick. The umpire, Gordon Wells. The head linesman is Ray Dotis. The line judge, Royal Cathcart. The back judge is Pat Knight. The field judge, Bill O'Brien. And they're talking things over now with about 6 or 7 of the Vikes. We still haven't received a signal as to whether the Vikes are going to take the 15-yard penalty. And I believe they are. They signaled a penalty now, which is offensive pass interference, an obvious call. And they still haven't made up their mind. 13 minutes and 14 seconds left to go in the first half of this game. The Vikes already lead the Redskins 14-3.
Joe, the way they're going, I would take the penalty.
Well, Francis is out there conducting the negotiations, it looks like.
Oh, that's a bad guy. He wants the ball.
Yeah.
I'm not sure he could be objective in this situation. Well, I see Mick is over talking to Bud. The defense is coming back on the field. So they're going to take the penalty.
Well, that 15 yards would mark it back at the Washington Redskin 42-yard line and make it third down and 38, or make it third down and 28 yards to go. Third and 28 from the Redskin 42-yard line. Now they've put in. I think they're going to decline it. That would bring up fourth down, Grady. That's why the defense is out there.
Okay,
now,
but they did get the mark off.
Now they are going to take it, yes, because Bragg was out there, and now they're going to take the 15-yard penalty. Now they've put in. I think they're going to decline it. That would bring up fourth down, Grady. That's why the defense is out there.
Okay,
now,
but they did get the mark off.
Now they are going to take it, yes, because Bragg was out there, and now they're going to take the 15-yard penalty. A 10-yard penalty. It's back to the 47-yard line in Washington Redskin territory. Make it the 48. It'll be third down and 23. Offensive pass interference, 10-yard penalty.
I don't know when that's become 10 yards.
I don't know either. All right, slot left. The tight end, Field get back in there, wide to the right. Back to pass, Kilmer, scrambling to his right. He's got a lot of room in front of him. Throws it downfield on the run. It's caught by Jefferson, who is hammered in the small of the back and dropped to the 35-yard line in Viking territory by Wally Hilgenberg. So they complete the pass on the rollout right, but they are far shy of the first down, about 7 yards short. And now it appears they'll try for the field goal. And Mosley leads the field goal kicking unit into the game. Joe Theismann, the backup quarterback, is the holder. And
he is a quarterback. He has run and has passed both. And, Joe, I still don't know why that penalty was 10 yards.
I don't either. Jeff Seaman lipped off the field of play. Let's hope that's not serious. Theismann, if he puts the ball down, will put it down at the 41-yard line. It would be a kick of 51 yards against the wind. And with a little short-up, he hits it a mile, but it's wide to the right. He had plenty of distance, but it just slid by the right upright. And he, again, had plenty of distance there with a very short walk-up. We'll be back with more play-by-play in a minute to score. The Vikings 14, the Washington Redskins 3.
If you don't have a retirement plan where you work, Twin City Federal has some plans for you that make an awful lot of sense. They can save you tax money this year and every year. You get a benefit now, and you get a healthy sum to retire on years from now. And that's something you ought to explore with the TCF folks at any Twin City Federal office. There are 2 tax-saving plans that you should know about. The money you deposit in either one, if fully deductible from your gross income, up to the maximum allowed by law. But you must take action before December 31st. So hurry on in and find out all about tax-saving retirement plans from the leader in savings, safe and sound Twin City Federal. You'll save tax dollars this year, and you're going to feel good about that. And you'll build a retirement fund, and you'll feel great about that. And you can expect plenty of help from Twin City Federal. The time on WCCO radio is 9 minutes before 1, and the temperature with sunshine 38 degrees.
Well, we checked downstairs, and apparently they did not call pass interference. They called offensive holding on a passing play by the wide receiver, and that's why it was a 10-yard penalty. First down to the Vikes on their own 34-yard line. Little razzle dazzle to Foreman, breaking to the outside, and he's pinned and caught and dumped at the 34-yard line by Brad Dusek, the left side linebacker in his third year out of Texas A&M. A little crossbuck there, delayed in the backfield, and Foreman, trying to skirt to the right side, got nailed, and they give him a short yard on the play. Second down, about 9.5. The ball shy of the Viking 35-yard line. Foreman, 26 yards and 7 carries. Fran is 5 of 9 for 73 yards and 2 touchdowns. A 27-yard diving deflected catch by Sammy White and an 18-yard touchdown pass to Stu Voigt. Double wing left, back to pass. Fran on 2nd and 9. Now gives ground, rolls to his right, throws it out of the backfield, caught by Stu Voigt. Oh, he slammed into one man, knocked him out of the way, but he's rolled over and out of bounds at the 39-yard line. Houston and Dusek paid the price there as Voigt just put a tremendous shoulder pop into Brad Dusek, the linebacker.
And sent him sailing, I might add. That Voigt is looking for people to hit.
It'll be 3rd and 5, and that's Stu's third catch of the afternoon. He caught only 28 during the year. They removed McClinton, the middle linebacker, and put in Brig Owens as the fifth defensive back. Now make that Eddie Brown. Eddie Brown is in there now, a little more quickness. The Vikes are 2 out of 4 in third down conversion. Slot to the right, Deuce backfield on 3rd down and 5. Fran back to pass, has time. Wings along, went over the middle, intended for Sammy White, overshot him, and he would have been into the clear. He had beaten Kenny Houston on a slant across the middle on a post pattern, but the ball was overthrown by about 3 yards, and that was too bad because White would have been long gone.
Oh, yeah, he was way out in front of Houston. I don't know how in the world they're trying to cover those things because that's Sammy on the wide receiver. Generally, they bring the cornerback all the way with those people, and if they're trying to cover him with the safety, they have to have the safety sitting in there flat-footed waiting for him.
Fourth down, 5 yards to go. Eddie Brown back in single punt safety. The Redskins line up with 10 men across the line. This time they'll give single coverage to the wide man out for the Vikes. There's the snap. They've got the rush on this time, and Clabo gets it away, and it's a high penalty, and a penalty flag has been thrown. A roughing the punter call against the Redskins. Dan Nugent, as Clabo got knocked down after he got that high wobbler away, and the Vikes will maintain possession thanks to the roughing the punter call against the Redskin defense.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see if that's the big one, the 15-yarder, or the 5-yarder, which is running into the punter.
Well, in either case, it would be enough for the first down.
Yes, it's always, all defensive penalties are first down except for the offside penalty.
Well, it's going to be a 5-yard mark-off to the Viking 44-yard line. First down for Minnesota with 10:28 left to go in the first half. 7 Vikings, by the way, were named to the Super Bowl, the Pro Bowl team. 8 were named to either the first or the second team All-NFC team. The only man who was named that will not represent the Vikes in the Pro Bowl is Nate Wright. Slot right, deuce backfield. Again to McClanahan behind Foreman. Trying to sweep the left side, turns the corner, 45-50, out of bounds. And he grabbed around the neck and shoved out by Jake Scott as he crossed the 50-yard line into Redskin territory at the Washington 49.
A truly remarkable job by Foreman. Well, when you think about blocking, you think about going up and knocking someone down, but Chuck just got into Hamburger and just kept riding him, and Hamburger kept giving ground, which allowed McClanahan to turn the corner and pick up 8 yards.
Yeah, give him 7. It's second down and 3. The ball at the Redskin 49-yard line. The Vikes playing very, very intense football. They'll line up in a slot to the left side. Sammy White inside Rashad. McClanahan now 52 yards and 4 carries. Throw set behind Tarkington. The give now to McClanahan. Jolts up the middle, breaks away from one man, and struggles, gets to the 46 before he's pushed back. Chris Hamburger caught him high and pushed him back. And they mark it at the 46-yard line, make it the 45. First down for the Minnesota Vikings.
They're going to measure it, but I can see it from here.
Yeah, he made it by at least 1.5 feet. We got the angle on this one. Unless we're both cross-eyed.
Well, we don't always agree with the officials, that's for sure.
First down at the 45.5-yard line. Jeff Seaman, as we mentioned a minute ago, who went out limping on that last defensive series, has a bruised leg, and they're examining him over on the far sidelines. Seaman has come up with a couple of tremendous hits in this ball game, as has several other members of that defensive unit. Matt Blair, for one. Rashad wide to the left, Sammy White in the slot to the left side. First down to the Vikes. Now in motion out of the deuce to the right side goes McClanahan. And the give to Foreman. And Chuck works his way for about 2 yards off right tackle. He was in heavy traffic down to the 44-yard line. There were Redskins all around him. McDowell and Butts brought him down. It'll be second down and 8. Well, he got 1.5 yards, but it'll make it second down and 9 officially. The ball at the 44-yard line. They were inside the 46 when the series started. Foreman now 27 yards and 8 carries. 9:40 to go in the first half. The Vikes in Redskin territory at the Washington 44, leading 14-3.
Second and 9 for the Vikings.
Later on today, it'll be the wild card team in the AFC, the New England Patriots, at Oakland. The Raiders with the best one-loss record for the regular season at 13-1. Back to pass on second and 9. Tarkington whips it out of there, caught, and spun down at the 39-yard line, and a penalty flag is thrown late. Jake Scott made the tackle on Brent McClanahan, sliding out of the left side of the backfield, who caught the pass from Tarkington, his third reception of the afternoon. There was a late flag thrown by the backfield judge, and now we'll wait and see what the call is.
Yeah, we had Pat Fisher and Stu Voigt over there, and also the linebacker Duzek. So it's hard to tell. I hope that they didn't get into a shoving match and Stu get caught at something.
He did. Is that going to be offensive holding? That wasn't even in the play.
Well, it shouldn't be any more than 10 yards, Joe. We just found that out.
Now the officials are having a little confab. Tarkington standing by listening. What are you going to do, Mr. Frederick? So far they haven't done anything. Now they're going to mark it back. All the way back to the Viking 46-yard line, closer to the 45. It's a 10-yard penalty.
No, it's a 15-yarder, unless I think they marked.
Now the line of scrimmage, Grady, was the 44.
Second down.
So it's second down and 19. And Brig Owens comes in as the fifth defensive back, replacing the middle linebacker, Harold McClinton. Illegal use of hands offensively against Stu Voigt. You don't think Stu isn't revved up a little bit today?
Second down and 19.
Now this time the Vikes will line up in a slot to the far right side. Sammy White inside of Ahmed Rashad. Francis back to pass. Stays in the pocket. Now rolls to his right. Being chased by McConnell. Throws on the run. Downfield. Caught by Rashad. Out of bounds to the 18-yard line. Kenny Houston finally forced him out. The rollout pass to the right slot by Brad Tarkington, who laid it in beautifully to Ahmed Rashad.
Oh, what a super play. Rashad was running it out there. Fisher, being the aggressive guy that he is, came up and tried to smother the play. And then Francis just bought himself a little more time, and Rashad, being the cool guy he is, took off right up the sideline. Francis laid it in there. Kenny Houston had to come a long way over to save a touchdown.
35-yard pickup. The ball is at the Redskin 19-yard line, first down. Rashad and White caught 104 passes in the regular season between them, the most ever by a pair of Viking wide receivers. Sammy White wide to the right, Rashad wide to the near left side. High formation. Oh, and Steve Riley jumped the count by about 2.
He's not ready.
He was already in against the middle linebacker in the backfield defensively for the Redskins. Well, the score is 14-3 in favor of the Vikings. We'll pause for station identification.
This is WCCO, Minneapolis and St. Paul at 8:30. 1/2 minute before 1:38 degrees.
Joe McConnell and Grady Alderman here at the Met. 5-yard walk-off against the Vikes puts the ball at the Skin 24-yard line, makes it 1st and 15.
Joe, the resident wag in our booth, pointed out he didn't think the last play was a pass.
Well, he certainly wasn't pulling. He wasn't dropping back to set up for pass blocking, that's for sure. 1st and 15 for the Vikings on the Redskins. 24-yard line. Rashad wide to the right. Sammy White comes wide to the near left side. Foreman on the left side of the deuce behind Tarkington. And this time Francis will pass on first down. In the pocket. Throws to the left sideline. White comes back, makes the grab at the 8-yard line. And is finally wrestled out at the 10. They'll give him the 8. Joe Lavender was the man who made the tackle, but Sammy came back for the ball. It should be enough for the first down by a yard. Inside the 9, 1st and goal at the Redskin 8-yard line.
Boy, they're just doing everything. Francis has, I'm not sure, can't really say that he's passing as sharply as we've seen him at some occasions, but boy, these receivers are just coming back and catching everything that's anywhere in the ballpark.
1st and goal from the 8-yard line. Rashad wide to the right, White in the slot to the right. Deuce backfield. Foreman on the left, McClanahan on the right side. And to give to Brent McClanahan. Trying the left side, cuts back in, trying to fire down to the 3-yard line, maybe the 2-yard line. Brent McClanahan running lateral, then angling sharply over the left guard slot. Brad Dusek finally wrestled him down about 2 yards short of the goal line. And again, another key block thrown by Chuck Foreman, who is playing sensational football today.
The entire left side of that line blocked well, including the center, Tingelhoff. We had Riley turned his man out. Goodrum got into his man and knocked him off the line of scrimmage. Nick took care of the middle linebacker and gave McClanahan just a lot of room to run.
Now the Redskins now beef it up with 5 big men in the front wall. And the Vikes go with their short yardage offense. Gary now is an offensive end. Craig is in there. They give to Foreman. Try the left side. Spins away. Still on his feet. What a run! He bounced off of 2 men. Spun back to the left and went into the end zone standing up after they appeared to have him stopped at the line of scrimmage. Great second. Great third effort. Chuck Foreman, 2 yards for the touchdown.
He was stopped, knocked back, stuck his nose back into the pile. They had him. He spun off and broke to the outside and went in free standing up. Sensational play by Chuck Foreman.
I don't think you'll ever see a greater 2-yard run there. 20-3, the fired up Vikings. Manhandling the Redskins here this afternoon. Paul Krause will hold. The ball is down. The kick is up. And it is good. A line drive shot through the uprights by Freddie Cox. It's 21-3. The Vikes leading with 7 minutes and 43 seconds to go in the first half. Now this message from John Deere.
Winter around here means one thing: snow. So you dress warm, make sure the car's got plenty of antifreeze, and if you're smart, you get yourself a Deere, a John Deere snowblower. Whether it's the 7 or 8 horsepower model, you get a dependable winterized engine with optional electric start. With 5 forward speeds plus reverse, you can select the most efficient speed to match the snow conditions. Big 17-inch tires and a limited slip differential give you traction even on icy spots. Highly efficient 2-stage design collects and discharges the snow quickly, easily. For your safety and ease of operation, all the controls are conveniently located on a console between the handlebars. And because it's a John Deere, you get a big snowblower designed to take abuse and come back for more. See your John Deere dealer. and ask him to demonstrate a John Deere snowblower. Learn why nothing runs like a deer.
"21-3 the score. The Vikes went 61 yards in 9 plays. The big play, a 35-yard grab by Rashad, and a 16-yard catch by Sammy White, and then a sensational second and third effort on a 2-yard run by Chuck Foreman for the touchdown. Now the Redskins are spread out all over the northern half of the field here. Eddie Brown is the deep man in the middle. Freddie hammers it long and deep. Driving Brown back to the 5-yard line, to the 10, to the 15, to the 20, up the far side, 25. Big pile up near the 30-yard line, across the 30 to the 31 or 2. Autry Beeman down there to make the tackle with help from Jeff Wright and Sammy Johnson. It'll be first down for the Redskins at the 31-yard line, and Grady, they got some pretty good wedge blocking there because there was all kinds of traffic for about 8 or 9 yards before they could finally get Eddie Brown down on the turf.
Yes, there was. Eddie Brown is not the greatest kickoff return man. His real skill is in the punt return, where he can use his quickness because he does not have a great deal of speed.
Wide to the left, Grant. Wide to the near side, Jefferson. Deuce backfield of Riggins and Thomas. Back to pass, Kilmer wings it downfield. Caught at the 46-yard line, almost spinning away is Frank Grant. He gets across the 50-yard line into Viking territory at the 48, and a penalty flag is thrown. Bobby Bryant and Paul Krause finally pinned him down after he almost spun away from Bobby Bryant, and there may be a face mask driving penalty against the Vikes there. Grant was very, very tough to bring down. Oh, it's against the Redskins. Well, isn't that nice? And they're going to take it back into Redskin territory, 15 yards, would you believe?
The Redskins are starting to show their frustration. A little bit early for that.
Well, we'll get a ruling on that. Illegal use of hands, apparently. A 21-yard pass completion, but 15 of it was lost on the penalty. But I believe they'll get the first down, will they not?
No, they won't.
Well, it depends on when they call the penalty after the play was over or not.
Joe, I'm looking at the stake, and the guy just moved it up and said second down.
All right. They got first down on the scoreboard. Now they change it, and it's going to be...
Yeah, it is first down.
First down.
It is first down.
First down and 4 yards to go. First and 4. I've not seen that before. And there's a give now to Riggins, trying the left side, and he gets by Alan Page, gets across the 40-yard line, and is bowled over at the 41. Near first down territory. Amos Martin is in there now in place of Jeff Seaman at middle linebacker. And apparently Jeff Seaman is now going to be out for the game with a leg injury of some sort, and let's hope that it's not serious. It's obviously serious enough to keep him out, at least at this point. A pulled thigh muscle. They're going to measure. It's at the 41. It looks very close. As Riggins picked up 4 on the sweep to the left side. Lenny Haas, the 13-year veteran over there, watching the measurement. And they got it by the nose of the ball. Just made it.
A couple of pretty good centers in this game, Joe. Tingelhoff was all-pro for 7 years, and Lenny Haas has made it a couple of times during his career.
And you know, they're both rather small in stature. Mick is listed at 240, Haas at 235.
Yeah, those are reasonably accurate weights. Both of them get by with their quickness and technique.
That's the first down the Redskins have picked up on the ground today. And it took a 1st and 4 to do it. They're at the 41-yard line, their own territory. Slot to the near right side. Grant inside of Roy Jefferson. And the give now to Mike Thomas. Breaks one tackle and spins and dives to the 45-yard line. Amos Martin, the middle linebacker. 6'3", 228 pounds in his 5th year from Louisville, making the stop on the play. He's a good football player. He just hasn't had a whole lot of chance to play behind Jeff Seaman. They both came into the league the same year. Seaman was the Vikes' #1 pick that year. 2nd down and 6, again at 4 for Mike Thomas. Jefferson wide to the left. Frank Grant in the slot to the left. I formation now. Thomas, the deep man, behind the big fullback, John Riggins. Kilmer looks left now to the right side, calling signals. And to give to Thomas, second man through, and he gets to the 48-yard line. Carl Eller pinned him. Eller and Martin's been in on 3 successive tackles. They must be running right at him. They're going to find out that he can play the game as well.
Yes, you expect your middle linebacker to make a lot of tackles, and the Vikings are blessed with having 2 of them that can tackle. That play, it looked as though Thomas was, he had a good head of steam up when he hit the line of scrimmage, but he was stopped for very little yardage. Yard and a half, 2 yards.
Nate Allen is the 5th defensive back as they pull the right side linebacker, Wally Hilgenberg. 3rd down and 4, the Redskins at the Washington 47-yard line. Back to pass, Kilmer. Being rushed, throws over the middle, intercepted by Nate Wright at the 34-yard line of the Vikings. The second interception of the afternoon. And Nate Wright, the team leader in the regular season with 7, picked it off. It was intended for Frank Grant, who then made the tackle on the play. So the Vikes will take it over at their own 34-yard line with 5 minutes and 32 seconds left to go in the first half. The score, the Minnesota Vikings 21, the Washington Redskins 3.
If you've been thinking about getting some of the fine historical collector plates available at Twin City Federal, you better hurry. The offer ends this Thursday. Each plate in the 6-plate set commemorates a great moment in American history. They're handcrafted and they are handsome. Fine collector items indeed. Now, the cost per plate is $6.95 with a new deposit of $100 or more in a new or a current Twin City Federal savings account. The complete set costs $35.95 with a $100 deposit. These plates are a colorful, important, dramatic reminder of events that helped to make America great. See them at any Twin City Federal office where the famous twin clocks flash time and temperature. A beautiful place to see Christmas time is the TCF Atrium in downtown Minneapolis. The 33-foot tree is magnificent. The decorations are lovely. And there's a concert every noon, and you're invited. The TCF Atrium. The temperature in the Twin Cities is now up to 40 degrees.
Joe McConnell and Grady Alderman back at the Met, where the Vikes have just intercepted Kilmer for the second time in the first half. Nate Wright came up with this one at the Viking 34-yard line. It's 21-3, Minnesota leading. Rashad wide to the left. Sammy White split wide to the right. I formation. Fran. Play action fake. Rolls to the right. Dumps it back over the middle. Oh, he throws it right into the hands of Kenny Houston. Houston with the interception. Dropped at the 37-yard line, and that is the second time in the first half we've had back-to-back interceptions. Ron Yeri made the tackle on the play, and that in itself is ironic. Back-to-back interceptions, not once but twice in the first half of a football game, and the Redskins get it right back on their second interception. Kenny Houston coming up with it.
It's particularly unusual because Francis threw only 8 interceptions on the entire year.
Well, now the Redskins get it right back at the Vikings.
At the Minnesota
36-yard line. Slot right. Jefferson, the outside man. Deuce backfield. Riggins on the left. Thomas on the right. And Whiskey Kilmer hands off to Thomas. Stumbles. And he's touchdown for a loss back at the 38-yard line. He lost his footing on the sweep of the left side. And in there to put him down was Doug Sutherland, who was actually behind him on the play and reached out and touched him while he was down. A loss of 2. It'll be second down and 12.
Come on, Joe. Give Sudsy credit. He made a diving tackle.
Calvin Hill in and Mike Thomas leaves. Thomas playing with less than 100% capabilities today due to an ankle sprain suffered 2 weeks ago. Calvin Hill into the lineup for the first time. He's big, quick, he can do it all. He's almost as big as Riggins. I formation, slot right. And a handoff inside to Riggins was hit immediately. Riggins ran right into Page and Marshall and went nowhere. As soon as he got the ball, he was stonewalled.
Boy, what a play by Page. He was past the guard before the guard got out of his stance. About a 2-yard loss. Excellent play.
Now it's going to be third down and 16. The ball is at the 42-yard line, and that was a loss of about, more than that, 4 yards on the play. Riggins has gained just 2 yards and 5 carries. Now Fugate, the tight end, will split wide to the left. They'll line up in a slot to the right. Jefferson outside of Grant. Larry Brown is in the backfield along with Calvin Hill. Redskins 1 of 5 and third down situation. Kilmer being chased. He gets away, still on his feet. He throws on the run. Caught and dropped at the 32-yard line. And Kilmer really got out of a trap there, and Larry Brown dropped that ball at the 33-yard line. Kilmer struggling, hit twice, stayed on his feet, finally got rid of the ball, only to have it dropped. Fourth down.
Had the ball been hung onto it, it would have been about 10 yards short of the first down at any rate.
Fourth down and 16. The ball on the Viking 42-yard line, and this time they'll punt. Bragg is in. He had a 40-yarder in his first kick and his only punt so far today.
Well, that was a tremendous defensive series. Let's hope that something good comes out of this.
3 men are deep. Spread across at about the 10-yard line. Willis in the middle. White on the near side. Autry Beeman on the right side. There's the kick by Bragg. He goes for the far side. Autry Beeman runs under it, makes a diving, fair catch at the 20-yard line. He had to almost stumble over one of the Redskins who was down there. He had signaled for the fair catch and made a falling, diving grab. It was Gerard Williams who was down there in his way, but it's first down for the Vikings at their own 19-yard line. With 3 minutes and 50 seconds left to go in a first half that has featured tremendous hard-hitting play by the Viking defense and some great offensive plays as well. The Vikes lead it 21-3.
we can't say anything about the Redskins, about their lack of good plays or their poor play, whatever. The Vikings have just simply smothered them.
Rashad wide to the right, White wide to the near side. First down from the 19-yard line. They give to Brent McClanahan. Tries the middle, gets about 2 to the 21-yard line. It'll be second down and 8. He ran into Dyron Talbert. 10-year veteran out of the University of Texas, 6'5", 255, the right tackle. It'll be second down and 8. McClanahan has picked up 64 yards and 7 carries, but of course he got 41 on the initial play from the line of scrimmage that set up the first touchdown of the game. Rashad wide to the left again. Sammy Whitespit wide to the far right side. The throw set. The deuce behind Tarkington. And Francis rolls to the right on the draw. Gets back to Foreman, cutting to the left. Spins away from one man. Gets to the 25, to the 27-yard line with a twisting run by Chuck Foreman on a counter draw. McClinton and McDowell made the tackle on the play. It'll be third down and about 2 yards to go as Foreman picked up 6.
That's the draw that the Vikes run off the sprint series. It appears that Francis is going to sprint out there and dump the little pass to Voigt, and then the fullback, Foreman, just waits for Francis to slip him the ball, and then he comes back against the grain. It's a very effective play.
Yeah, the flow goes right, and the draw comes back to the left. It's third down now, 2 yards to go. Foreman with 35 yards and 10 carries. Double wing to the left side. Francis rolls hard to the right side, looking now. He's going to run with it, and he gets the first down as he dives to the 30-yard line. The roll out to the right, he ducked under Talbert and Brundage, a pair of monsters, and got the 3 yards needed for the first down. Francis rolling to the right and keeping the ball.
A very courageous play. I hate to see Francis do that, particularly against a guy like Talbert, who's mean as a snake.
Well, he always spoke well of you, Grady.
I'm sure he did. He could beat me like a drum. He beat me like a drum. Why wouldn't he speak highly of me?
First down. The Vikes at their own 30-yard line. White wide to the near side. Rashad split wide to the right. Long count by Fran. He drops straight back to pass. May look deep. He throws it to the right side. Rashad can't reach it at the 47-yard line. And again, it looked like he had the angle on Pat Fisher. That stops the clock with 2 minutes left to go in the first half. They'll give the warning to both benches. The score is 21-3 in favor of the Vikes, but we'll keep it right here at the Met. The Vikes have played dominating football so far in the first half, and except for the 2 mistakes, the interceptions, this ball game might be about 28-0 right now, Grady.
Yes. They had the ball in good field position on the interceptions. They've had 3 long drives, 2 of them for 66 yards in very short order. Then they had a 61-yarder, which a little more conventional fashion. Took them 9 plays, and even in that one, I guess they were aided by a penalty. But the Vikings have truly dominated both sides of the line of scrimmage and have just overwhelmed the Redskins here thus far.
Francis in the passing department is 8 out of 15 for 128 yards and 2 touchdowns, but he's also thrown 2 interceptions, which is unlike him, having thrown only 8 in the 14-game regular season just concluded a week ago today down in Miami. In the playoffs in the past, the Vikes have won 6 times and lost 7, and of course 3 of those 7 defeats came at the Super Bowl. In the first round, the Vikes have won 3 and lost 4.
Joe, we might point out that the Vikings, when they have won the first-round game, have always gone to the Super Bowl.
I was looking at this, and it just occurred to me, with 4 first-round losses and 3 in the Super Bowl, they have never lost an NFC title game. 2 minutes left to go in the first half. Tomorrow, a big ball game. Dallas hosting Los Angeles. The Rams will undoubtedly go against the Cowboys down in their own backyard without Rhodes Scholar quarterback Pat Hayden, who had taken over as their starting quarterback the last 5 or 6 weeks. Jamie Harris will get the nod. And to give to Brent McClanahan, I believe. Yep, McClanahan. And he wiggled his way for about 1.5 yards, maybe 2, right up the middle. There was not much running room there at all. And the Redskins call a timeout.
They're trying to hold the Vikings here and force the Vikes to punt so that their offense will get the ball in some kind of decent field position. If the Vikings happen to get a first down or so, of course, it would work in reverse.
Yep. A gain of 3 for Brent. It'll be second down and 7. And the way the Vikes have been moving the ball, I would think the percentages lie in their favor at this point. McClanahan now 67 yards and 8 carries.
You have to look at your team in this situation, and you're with an 18-point lead. Do you want a chance throwing an interception and you're into the field just to try and maintain possession? Or do you want to try and take that chance, put the ball in the air, try and get some completions, get it up the field, and get some more points? Those are the things that are facing Tarkenton and his teammates at this point
If the score should read 21-3, or if the Vikes should go ahead even further at this point, you also have to wonder if the Vikes might lose a little bit of that enthusiasm and intensity in the locker room at halftime. You can recall a year ago in D.C. when the Redskins had a quick 21-0 lead. The Vikes came back, actually took the lead in a great second half, then lost it in the waning moments. All right, deuce backfield, slot to the left. 2nd down, 7. The Vikes on their own 33-yard line. Tarkington back to pass. Has time. Throws a high flyer on the right side. Chuck Foreman kind of pulled up on it. I think he lost it when he turned back to look into the sun for it. Duzek was covering on the play. It was out on the right flat. Incomplete. 4th down and 7, so the Redskin gamble worked out. 1:46 to go. The incompleted pass also stopped the clock on that play. And Claybo in to punt it away. And the Redskins are hoping, of course, for a long punt return from their premier punt return man, Eddie Brown. Francis now 50-50 on 8 of 16. Doug Dumler over the ball. There's the snap. It's a good one. And Claybo gets it away. Booming kick. Brown all the way back to the 17. Comes to the near sidelines, running, crossing the 20, turns it upfield to 25, tries to get away, and he's hit and knocked down to the 32-yard line on a nice low tackle by Wendland Hall. Well, he got some return out of that, but a tremendous kick by Catfish Claybo, who has really had a great afternoon punting.
Catfish hit that ball very, very well. Brown got about a 14-yard return, but of course he started on his own 17.
That was about a 50-yard punt. The ball at the Washington Redskin 32-yard line. Make it the 33, closer to the 32, but it's over. Wide to the left now goes Roy Jefferson with about a 15-yard return. 51-yard punt for Claybo. Back to pass, Kilmer over the middle, popped it to Thomas. He's got it to 35, breaks one tackle across the 40 and gets out to the 43-yard line where Amos Martin finally hauls him in. Nice move by Thomas over the middle after he caught that little dump pass. Split 2 Viking defenders and moved it upfield to the 43-yard line. 1:17 to go. The clock continues to run. The Redskins line up without a huddle. Jefferson wide to the left. Grant wide to the near right side. Back to pass, Kilmer. Kilmer looks, throws out on the right flat, caught at the 50-yard line. Amos Martin makes the tackle and dumps the receiver all the way back. It's Mike Thomas to the Viking 45-yard line, and he was one step across the 50. They'll mark it at the Minnesota 49, where the Redskins will stop the clock with their second time out with 1 minute and 3 seconds to go.
It's interesting to compare those last 2 plays. Thomas, on the first play, caught the ball over the middle, moving laterally across the field, and he had a little bit of running room. He was able to juke Jeff Wright and make him miss the tackle. He split the people and got up the field for the first down. On his latter play, he had his back to the upfield, and when he caught the ball, he had to turn, and Martin was right on top of him to make the tackle. That's the difference between the 2 plays. They were caught in relatively the same area in relationship to the line of scrimmage, but on the first play, Thomas was moving. On the second one, he was stationary.
One thing, you can look at Thomas and Foreman and see some comparable statistics. They both were about even in rushing. Chuck was 4th, Thomas was 5th, both about even on average gain per carry. Foreman at 4.2, Thomas at 4.3. In pass receiving, Chuck caught 55, Thomas caught only 28, but they both averaged over 10 yards a catch, which is quite a figure average-wise for running backs, because you look at Brent McClanahan, who caught 40 passes, he averaged about 6 yards a catch. So they can move with it when they get it. Very, very good football players, both of them. Wide to the left is Jefferson. Grant wide to the near side. 2nd down, 3. Quick count on the first call by Kilmer. He's in trouble. He throws over the middle. Incomplete. On a deep slant in at about the 32-yard line, intended for Roy Jefferson. Jeff Wright was there, and also Paul Krause, the free safety, was backing up on the play. And Kilmer whipped that one just a little bit too hard in front of his receiver. It'll be 3rd down and 3, and the clock is stopped with 58 seconds to go. The ball just across the 50-yard line in the Viking territory. Kilmer is 7 and make it 8 of 14 for 87 yards. And there has not been a quarterback sack yet this afternoon, although Kilmer was close to being dumped a couple of times.
He's been under tremendous pressure, and I would not have guessed that his statistics were that good.
3rd and 3 for the Redskins.
3rd and 3 for the Redskins. Jefferson wide to the left again. Grant standing wide to the near right side. Kilmer back to pass. Swings it out of the right flat. Incomplete. He overshot Thomas on the play. Nate Allen was covering. And it'll be 4th down. And 3 yards to go with 54 seconds remaining to be played in the first half.
4th down.
Now, this is an interesting situation. If the Redskins don't pick up this first down, the Vikes have excellent field position.
Yes, they do.
They would only need a couple of first downs to get down into field goal range.
Well, the ball is at just across the midfield stripe. We'll call it the Viking 49 on 4th down and 3. 54 seconds left to play in the half, and the Redskins taking plenty of time in the huddle. They break it, send Jefferson wide to the left again. Frank Grant out of southern Colorado. Wide to the near side. Quick count. Back to pass. Kilmer sets up. Looking. Throws over the middle, and it's caught by Fugate, the tight end. He's got the first down as it bowls across the 40 to the 38-yard line. Paul Krause made the tackle. Fugate's first reception today, and the Redskins keep the drive alive at the Viking 38-yard line with 39 seconds to go in the first half.
Well, all I can say is darn.
Again, on the first count, Kilmer lines him up. Quick square out. Caught by Frank Grant, who steps out of bounds immediately at the 34-yard line, beating Nate Wright to the near sidelines. A short pickup of about 4 yards on the play, but it stops the clock with 30 seconds to go. And Kilmer is doing a marvelous job of controlling the time here and still moving the ball.
It would be more critical for the Redskins to score here than for the Vikings to allow them to score, because the team that scores just before halftime going in always feels that they've gained some momentum. And in this case, of course, the Redskins would start with the ball in the second half.
Second down, 6. The ball at the Viking 35-yard line. Quick count on a slot left. Back to pass. Kilmer lines up. Now ducks under Jimmy Marshall. And now they're going to sack him. Back at the 43-yard line. The first quarterback sack of the afternoon. Kilmer pumped. Ducked under the right arm of Jimmy Marshall. Tried to roll out of there. And Marshall, Page, and Eller all collided on him. And the ball is at the 43-yard line. A loss of about 8 on the play. The first quarterback sack for the Vikes this afternoon. They had 45 during the season.
And really a big play, because to get back to my previous comment, the psychology of this thing is very important. Had they scored here and then came out to score to start the second half, they would significantly close the gap between these two teams. We have, on the other side, I guess I can remember a situation in a championship game which the Vikings took a big lead over the Cleveland Browns. The first championship game played here in 1969, and the Brownies came out and scored the first time they had the ball in the second half, but then we revved it up, got another quick touchdown, and they kind of laid back.
Well, now the Redskins have used up all 3 of their timeouts, Grady. It'll be 3rd down and 14, which is not as important as where the line of scrimmage is, and that would be the Viking 43-yard line. And the clock shows 24 seconds left to play in the first half. A 21-3 Minnesota lead. Kilmer is 11 of 16 for 101 yards so far in the first half. He's thrown 2 interceptions. Tarkington likewise has had 2 picked off on succeeding plays, would you believe? Now Fugate, the tight end, split wide to the left. The 2 wide receivers in the slot to the right. Grant inside of Jefferson. Back to pass is Kilmer. He sets up deep this time. Takes a lot of time and throws down the middle. And it is incomplete. He threw that one into a crowd. There were 3 Viking defenders and 2 Redskin receivers down there. And it's incomplete. It was intended for Frank Grant, I believe, but also in the vicinity was Gene Fugate, the tight end. But we had Jeff Wright, Bobby Brett, and Paul Krause all in the area.
Well, now there's a play, and you always hear about Kilmer's weak arm or lack of an arm. He threw that ball on the Redskin side of the 50, and it went into the end zone about 3 yards, about a 55-yard pass. And I thought that Grant had caught it. I kind of lost the ball.
I held it back, too, because you lost it. There were so many people running around down there.
Yeah, and when he comes out of the shade, down in that end zone under the scoreboard, it may have even hit one of their hands.
Well, our resident Wag says it did. Said that Frank Grant had a hand on it. Well, it's 4th down and 14. The Redskins will go. Back to pass. Kilmer looking. Over the middle, he rifles the ball. Incomplete. Intended for Frank Grant. That one was thrown away, and the Vikes have it now with 11 seconds to go. The ball on the Minnesota 43-yard line. A 21-3 Viking lead.
Well, if they get anything going here, it'll be more luck than sense. 11 seconds just isn't enough time. It'd take 3 or 4 to get the ball off, and then if the receiver runs any distance, it'll be another 3 or 4. They would only be lucky if they could get the ball out of bounds or get the clock stopped in time to try a field goal.
Bobby Lee is in at quarterback, Grady. Bobby Lee is the quarterback, and they're going to go with a double wing left. Foreman in the slot to the near left side. And Lee drops back to pass. He's going to throw it deep. He wings it down the right side, intended for Sammy White. He tripped up. No, they don't call a penalty. I don't believe it. Sammy White was tripped up by Kenny Houston inside the 10-yard line. The official standing right there waved it off. The pass is incomplete with 4 seconds to go.
Houston was a little slow getting up. It appeared that he and White got their legs are a little bit tangled as Sammy ran past him.
That had to be a penalty one way or the other, and I can't believe it. The man standing right there waved it off. Well, 4 seconds to go. 2nd down and 10. The Vikes on their own 43-yard line. Does this mean that we're going to see Bobby Lee on in the last seconds of each period when they have to throw 70 yards. Well, he hummed that one pretty good. It was inside the 15 and about the pass came down at about the 10. That would be 57 yards in the air. Now, again, they line up in a double wing left. Foreman in the slot. Sammy White wide to the right. And again, Bobby Lee sets up deep. He'll try to go for it all. Rolls to the right side. Winds up now. Gives ground and slips and falls. Back at the 36-yard line. That'll be a quarterback sack for the Washington Redskins. And the end of the first half has been reached with a score. The Minnesota Vikings 21, the Washington Redskins 3. Kicks it off, and he hits a beauty. Eddie Brown waits for it at the 5-yard line. Up the middle, veering to the left side, now stays in the middle, 20-yard line, and he is really mashed at the 22-yard line by Sammy Johnson. Woodland Hall and Autry Beeman all down there in the special teams unit, and Fred McNeil also got a piece of it.
Heck of a hit by McNeil.
And Brown a little slow in getting up. The ball at the 22-yard line, first down for the Redskins. And this will be a very important possession for the Redskins, who are down by 18. They've got to get some kind of momentum going and going in a hurry. Frank Grant wide to the left, Roy Jefferson wide to the right. And they have kind of a wingback situation with Riggins to the right side. Back to pass, Kilmer, quick slant in through Jefferson's hands, incomplete at the 40-yard line. He rifled that one like a bullet, and he had to throw it in a hurry because Alan Page put on the rush. It'll be second down and 10.
Well, if we can base anything on one play, we'd have to say that the Vikings have picked up where they left off.
Well, Jefferson might have caught that one. It smacked him in the hands, but it was really coming. Second down and 10. The Redskins just across their own 21-yard line. Again, Jefferson comes wide to the right. Double wing left. Thomas is in the slot this time. Riggins the only setback. And rolling back to the right side is Kilmer. Quick square out on the right side. A diving grab by Jefferson. Incomplete. He couldn't hold it. At the 34-yard line, again, Nate Wright and Matt Blair covering on the play. And Jefferson's had trouble on 2 straight plays now. It'll be third down and 10.
It looked to me like he hung onto the ball, but I think he was out of bounds. It was thrown a little bit short, and he was a little bit up the field and had to come back and ended up dragging his feet out of bounds. Well, it's hard to tell. We have a lot of people on this sideline. It's hard to tell whether he caught it or was out of bounds.
It looked like he caught it, but it also looked like that if he caught it, he was inbounds, to me. But then they didn't call a play on that next to last play of the first half either.
No question in my mind they missed an interference call.
Yes, one way or the other. Deuce backfield, third down and 10. Back to pass. Kilmer sets up, throws a long one over the middle, and it's juggled and dropped, incomplete as Fugit was the intended receiver. He was hit by Matt Blair and Jeff Wright, and the ball was knocked loose. Walt Cross was also there.
The ball was just a little bit behind Fugit. He reached back and kind of bobbled it, and at that time the Viking players laid the wood to him, and he dropped it.
Fourth down on 3 incompleted passes. The Redskins have come out firing. Fourth down at the 26-yard line. Bragg in the punt. Both kickers had a pretty good first half. Claybo hit a couple of beauties. 3 men deep for the Vikes with Willis in the middle. There's the snap, a rather low one, but Bragg handles it, almost got it blocked by Wally Hilgenberg. Willis at the 38, gives ground. He'll try to turn a corner at the 40, 45, and hit a wrestle out of bounds to the 48 or 9-yard line. Stu Odell down to put a necktie on him. And they'll mark the ball at the Viking 49-yard line, where they'll have excellent field position to start their first possession of the second half, leading 21-3. 35-yard punt and a 10-yard return by Lenny Willis, the rookie out of Ohio State.
Excellent coverage by Odell because Willis had turned the corner and he was really trucking up the sidelines when Odell caught him.
Rashad wide to the right, Sammy White in the slot. Deuce backfield. Now coming in motion to the left side is Brent McClanahan to give to Chuck Foreman. Tries the left tackle slot, gets to the 50, and somehow knifes through there for an extra 2 yards to the 48-yard line. A pickup of 3 for Mr. Foreman. It'll be second down and 7. Dave Butts and Dennis Johnson, along with Harold McClinton, the middle linebacker, making contact on the play. The Vikes in Redskin territory at the Washington 48, second down 7. Well, Don Coryell and that entire St. Louis Cardinal football team has to be a little bit envious today, even though the Redskins are being hammered right now. Slot right, deuce backfield, second down 7. Fran gives now to McClanahan, coming back to the left side, bounces off of one man, gets inside the 45, down to the 42.5-yard line, where Ron McDowell makes the tackle on the play. McClanahan, with his best running game of the year, set up right from the start with that 41-yard jolt on the first carry, and he has looked good all afternoon. There was a lot of talk. In fact, we were talking before the game, Grady, about the fact that we might see Robert Miller quite a bit this afternoon. But McClanahan now has picked up 72 yards and 9 carries.
Brent has played so well, I'm sure Bud doesn't want to sit him down. And I don't know if our fans know this or not, but McClanahan, of course, played every play in the preseason and got all banged up, and he's been playing with those injuries while they're only bumps and bruises virtually the entire year.
Hamilton and Craig are in there now in their short yardage situation on 3rd down and 2. They give to McClanahan. He tries it. I don't think he made it. Big pile up short of the 40 at about the 41. Now, he had to get to the 41-yard line, and we have no idea exactly where he is because he went into the middle of that thing, and we still can't see him.
I would guess that he's short.
I would, too. And Jake Scott says he's got to be a yard short.
What does Scott know?
I don't know.
He's only down there in the field.
Well, he's going to be short, but it's going to be maybe a foot or less from the angle we have here, and it's a good one. They're going to measure anyway. It's pretty close to the 41-yard line, but I think he's going to be about 10 inches short.
Yep.
Why do they bother to measure? All they have to do is ask us.
Well, it's not quite 10, is it?
Oh, maybe 9. Sorry about that.
And they're going for it.
I had a feeling they would. Brundage comes in to anchor that front line. They're going to pull Scott out. Wouldn't it be something to get a little play-action fake and throw long?
That would take a lot of courage.
Yeah, 4th down. Less than a foot to go. The Vikes on the Redskins 41. Everyone bunched in tight. And they give to Foreman. He hurdles, and he should have it. He got cartwheeled at the 40 and then came down a little bit shy of the 40-yard line, but he was way over the line of scrimmage. Duzek and Houston tried to leap over the top and meet him head on. And that's about as high as I've seen Foreman get this year. It's at the 40-yard line. It's a 1st down. They haven't signaled it yet. Again, all they have to do is look at us.
Well, there they go. The Redskins played that about as well as they could have. He's in there hoping to meet that their jumps would meet Foreman at the apex and knock him back. But, of course, they missed it. That's the thing that Nick Bonacani of the Miami Dolphins used to do so effectively.
All right, 1st down. Now, Yeri is out for a play. Hamilton's in at offensive guard. In motion coming to the left side out of the deuce is McClanahan on the slot right. Back to pass his friend. Gives it back to McClanahan on the left side. He's across the 35 and upended at the 33-yard line. He got a high load there. Joe Lavender hit him low with help from Chris Hanberger over the top. Little quick comeback pass on the near left sidelines and the flat to McClanahan. He's been a busy man today. A 7-yard gain. It's at the 33-yard line. 2nd down and 3. The Vikes driving on the Redskins again.
That play was very much like the one Francis completed to Brent in the first half, in which he sprinted right and pulled up and then whipped it back to the left flat out here.
Steve Cook, my spotter, pointed out that Joe Lavender is wearing shades. Well, he does wear prescription glasses, one of the few in the NFL. They give to Foreman. Chuck almost slipped, keeps his balance, throws the ball across the 30-yard line. Big pile up at the 28. I think the Vikes got it back, and I think McClanahan was the man who scooted over and caught the ball. Chuck lost his footing not once but twice on the same run to the right, then lost the ball. And McClanahan fell on it at the 28-yard line. Oh, they're going to bring it back to about the 30. It's going to be close to the 1st down. They're going to measure. It's right on the 30, which should be enough for the 1st down.
Well, McClanahan has been Johnny on the spot this entire afternoon, and on that particular play, he put the block on Duzek, which allowed Foreman to get past the line of scrimmage, and then Chuck had the ball top 3, and McClanahan had the presence of mind to get up there and make the recovery.
1st down at the 30-yard line. 3 to go in the 3rd period. The Vikes leading 21-3 and looking for more. You okay, Jack? Long time in the hunt. Riley breaks. Rashad wide to the right. Sammy White comes wide to the left. White and Boyd have caught touchdown passes. Foreman has jolted for 2 yards and a touchdown. Deuce backfield. Francis sets up quickly. There's a fly pattern down the right sideline for a shot. He's out of bounds. He was pushed out. No penalty flag again. It's Fisher just pushed him out of bounds at the 10-yard line.
Joe, I think that Rashad had already faded out of bounds. Francis got that ball a little bit more to the right than he wanted, and it led Rashad out of bounds, but Pat gave him a little shove, and had they both been in bounds, I think that the official would have called that one.
Well, you never know.
Yep, that's for sure.
2nd down and 10. Are you listening, Art McNally? Only broadcasters have ever been fined before. 2nd down, 10 at the 30-yard line. This time the Vikes will line up in a slot to the far right side. Sammy inside of Ahmed. Deuce backfield. And Francis gives the Foreman. Big hole sliding to the right side. 25-20, still on his feet to the 15. To the 10, to the ball. He hurdles touchdown. Just
only super. When he got to the 20-yard line, he made a little move and stiff-armed Ken Houston, an all-pro safety, and left him in the dirt. Great downfield blocks that time by Stu Voigt and Steve Riley. Riley coming all the way over from his left tackle spot to get into the way of somebody in the secondary, and Foreman, after he'd gotten by Houston, cut to the right, hit the sideline, up the sideline, leaped the would-be tackler at about the 3-yard line and pranced into the end zone.
Touchdown number 2 for fabulous Chuck Foreman. It's 27-3, and Fred Cox will try to make it 28. Kraus will hold. It's a high snap. Paul gets it down, and Freddie rifles it through. 28-3, the Vikes lead with 10:47 to go in the game, third quarter. I don't know how many yards. How many yards, Grady? 30 yards on the run.
That was about it. Yeah, that was a 51-yard drive in 8 plays.
All right, 10:47 to go in the third period. The score is 28-3, Vikings.
Twin City Federal is not only in the strongest position to help you save, it's in the most convenient position. With PassCard and PassCard savings centers, it's next door to most everybody around here.
Fred Cox moves forward. There's the kick. End over ender. Drifting to the left side. Brown at the 10-yard line. To the 15. Coming back to the 20. Up the middle, 25. Hit. Slides to the right. Gets to the 30-yard line where he's rolled over by about 5. Purple jersey. Well, Wyndon Hall. Fred McNeil. Autry Beeman. Doug Dumler. They were all there. The score is 28-3. The Vikes over the Redskins will pause for station identification.
This is WCCO, Minneapolis and St. Paul at 8:30. 1/2 minute before 2 o'clock, sunny, 42 degrees.
Well, the Vikings leading 28-3. The Redskins will put it in play at the 30-yard line. Slot to the near right side. Now in motion out of the deuce to the left goes Mike Thomas. And Kilmer will roll to the left. Now for the downfield and turn to the tight end. Fugit, nice catch at the 50-yard line. He just reached over Bobby Bryant, who was covering him on the play. It had a little more size and a little more strength, and made a great over-the-shoulder grab at the 50-yard line. A 20-yard pickup first down for the Redskins.
Fugit was coming out of the tight end position on the right side of the line and cutting across the field, running away from Jeff Wright. Leaped up to make the catch, and Bryant met him and put a pretty good stick on him, hitting Fugit right in his chest.
Bobby a little mystified that Fugit held on to the ball. First down for the Redskins at the 50-yard line. This has to be the finest performance by a Viking team since the NFC title game of 2 years ago down in Dallas. Now rolling to the right is Kilmer. Throws back into the middle. Incomplete, intended for Jefferson, who juggled the ball. Nate Wright tried for the diving intercept at the 35, could not come up with it. But he was jolted as he got to the ball.
Boy, Jefferson has just had a great deal of trouble catching anything today.
Well, that's 3 now he's had trouble with here in the third period, and we've got 9:53 to go. A 28-3 Viking lead. Foreman with 2 touchdowns. The last one on a brilliant 30-yard run. And for the 5th straight time, Grady, the Vikes picked up more than 100 yards on the ground in the first half today.
Yes, they haven't.
Inside handoff goes to Thomas. Breaks one tackle. Breaks to the outside. 40, 35. Straight on Bobby Bryant. But Bobby hangs on and finally wrestles him down at the 30-yard line. Another 20-yard pickup. This time on the ground as Mike Thomas gets loose for the first time this afternoon on a nice run up the middle, breaking a tackle about 3 yards into the secondary and then sliding to the left side.
Well, I want to tell you, Bobby Bryant made a fine play on that. He was coming to the inside to make the tackle and saw Thomas break to the outside and did one of those old basketball pick moves in which he spun back and just was able to pick up Thomas in his vision and catch up to him and make the tackle.
Not only that, he fought off a pretty good straight arm.
Yep, and it was a touchdown saver.
Grant wide to the left. Jefferson wide to the near side. Thomas in the slot to the left in a double wing formation. And Kilmer rolls to the left side, being rushed by Alan Pace. Dumps it over the middle, and a diving juggling catch by Riggins who falls to the 19-yard line. He stumbled about 5 yards trying to hang on to the leather, which he did. And they mark it at the 20, another 10-yard pickup. It'll be another first down for the Redskins, but they're going to measure. They already have it. 9:32 to go, and this has been the Redskins' best drive of the day. 2 20-yard pickups, one on a pass to Fugit, the tight end, one on a run by Thomas, and that on a nice diving, stumbling catch by Johnny Riggins out of the backfield. And that is by far and away their deepest penetration in the Viking territory this afternoon, and we're into the third period.
You know, we started to remark, Joe, about the Vikings picking up 100 yards in the first half for the 5th straight time. A couple of weeks ago, we mentioned that one of the things the Vikings feel they have to do to win is pick up 75 yards in each half. And they did that the last 2 weeks of the season. And, of course, with Foreman's 30-yard run, they're well on the way to doing it again today.
Redskins out of the huddle. First down at the Viking 20-yard line. Slot to the right side. Grant inside of Roy Jefferson. Out of the deuce in motion to the left side goes Mike Thomas. Wrong count by Kilmer. He rolls along the line to the left side, hands off to Riggins, cuts back, and gets knocked down at the 17-yard line. And a great tackle by Amos Martin, who's filling in for Jeff Seaman at the middle linebacker position. Bobby Bryant also got a piece of him. Bobby not very big at 6'1", 170, but he's a hard-nosed youngster. Not much of a youngster anymore either, his 8th year.
That's the kind of play that Riggins is most effective on, where he gets to the outside and they get him against the defensive backs rather than against the linemen. He will run through those tackles by defensive backs, even though he's turned kind of sideways.
Second down and 6, a gain of 4. They're at the 17-yard line. Now again, same formation, slot right, in motion to the left goes Thomas. This time Kilmer rolls to the right, swings it out on a flat pass on the right side. It's caught by Frank Grant. He gets inside the 10. Penalty flag thrown. It may be offensive holding. He was finally pushed out of bounds at the 6-yard line. Nate Wright and Jeff Wright covering on the near sidelines, but a penalty flag was thrown back in the middle of the field, and it's holding against the Redskins, a 10-yard mark off. And that comes at a very, very bad time for George Allen's gang, who already trailed 28-3.
And you know what I think happened? Roy Jefferson was coming out of his right side flanker position and went into the middle and screened Paul Krause, who was assigned to cover the first man out of the backfield on this side. And you can't do that, Joe. Can't block those defensive backs downfield until the ball is thrown.
Big Mark Mullaney comes in to replace Carl at left defensive end. And going out is Wally Hilgenberg as the Vikes go with their nickel defense with Nate Allen as a 5th defensive back into the lineup. Nate was a starter at right cornerback early in the year when Bobby Bryant was trying to recover from an injury and had 2 or 3 sensational games, more notably the Pittsburgh game. And then when Bobby Bryant got a chance to play when Nate got banged up, that shows you how much depth the Vikes have. Second down and 16. The Redskins on the Viking 26-yard line. Slot left. Huget split wide to the right. Back to pass is Kilmer. Has time. Throws a square on the left side. He overshoots Jefferson this time on a square out at about the 16-yard line. Incomplete. It'll be third down and 16. Billy is 11 of 26 for 131 yards. And he has completed only 1 pass here in the second half.
And that was the biggie. If you get 20 yards to start this drive.
Yeah, make that 12 out of 26, Jackson. Okay. 11 out of 26. 8:19 left to go in the third period. The Redskins with their best threat of the day at the Viking 26-yard line, but it's third and 16. I would doubt if they go for a field goal if they fail. Jefferson wide to the near side. Grant split wide to the left. Deuce backfield. Kilmer drops back to pass. Gets the inside rush. Now scrambling. Hurdles over one man. Still on his feet. Throws it. Caught at the 17-yard line by Frank Grant. He runs lateral and is finally wrestled down by a pair of Vikings in that secondary. And Kilmer again doing a quick job of getting out of there. He had to hurdle one of his own blockers. Martin and Bryant finally wrestled Grant down at the 17-yard line. And I believe they are going to go for the field goal. Trailing by 25 points, they're going to go for the field goal. It's at the Viking 18-yard line. The kick will come from about the 25, which would make it a 35-yard attempt.
I'm sure the Redskin fans the world over will question this call, but when you're struggling, you have to try and get the points when you can and hope that your defense can turn the ball over in good position.
Theismann will hold. There's a snap. The ball is down. The kick is up. Oh, he kicked it out of sight. It's good. Well, Mosley has certainly impressed us today. A 35-yard field goal. The score is now 28-6 in favor of the Vikes. Here's a message from Pabst Blue Ribbon Beer.
It's good to know there are some things you'll never need to run out of. Like Pabst Blue Ribbon Premium Beer in a handy 12-pack that dispenses one 12-ounce can at a time. It's like having a private warehouse for your Blue Ribbon beer. But as big as it sounds, the 12-pack takes up surprisingly little room in your refrigerator. And of course, the 12-pack is just perfect for those summer outings or for when that unexpected company drops by. With the 12-pack, you've got more than enough to make the Pabst Challenge. Taste and compare Blue Ribbon's flavor and quality with any other premium beer. You'll agree it's the best-tasting beer money can buy. Pabst, since 1844, the quality has always come through.
Well, the Redskins went 53 yards in 7 plays. Mosley's 35-yard field goal makes it a 28-6 ball game. Willis is deep at the 5-yard line. And they've got Robert Miller and Sammy White also back.
Well, Joe, I'm sure that the Redskins don't feel they're out of this game. They'll get the ball 4, maybe 5, maybe 6 more times, and if they score every time, they're right back in it.
Oh, I guess. There's a high kick way above the upper deck. Willis waits for it at the 12. Behind the wedge, up the middle of the 20. Tries to squirt through there and is nailed at the 24-yard line. You know, you run a risk sometimes of kicking that ball off that high because your men can sometimes overrun the play. Ted Fritsch made a tackle on the play. If you can pop that wedge, Grady, you can get that man through and beyond most of the defenders, and there's a chance of going all the way with it.
That's generally when a kickoff is broken, when they get by the first wave, and if they're all coming down in the same line, it's a simple matter once you split the crack.
First down to the Vikes on their own 24-yard line. A 12-yard return on the kickoff. The shot comes wide to the near left side. Wide right is Sammy White. And to give inside to McClanahan, slashing to the right side, runs by 2 men across the 30, carries another tackle to the 32-yard line. Harold McClinton finally pulled him down. Another fine inside run by Brent McClanahan. He was never rushed for 100 yards in a single game in his NFL career, and he is closing in on it right now. 6:55 to go in the third period. He's picked up 78 yards and 10 carries. The ball is at the 32-yard line. Foreman has 74 and 15, including a 30-yard touchdown run. McClanahan on the first play from scrimmage broke one for 41 yards. Slot to the near left side on 2nd down and 2. The Vikes on their own 32-yard line. And to give to McClanahan again. And he gets the first down. He got about 2 yards. That's all he needed. Just a little inside move off Tinglehoff and Goodrum. And McClinton and Johnson combined to bring him down. And they'll probably call for another measurement.
That play that McClanahan just ran there, the Vikings run from either side out of the split backfield or from the flanker formation, in which the fullback leads the halfback into the line, and they generally get a double team on the middle linebacker with either the guard, the center, and the back.
Both coaches predicted a low-scoring game today, despite the favorable weather outlook. But right now, it's 28-6 in favor of the Vikes, and they have a first down on the Minnesota 34-yard line. Rashad comes wide to the near left side, and Sammy White will line up in the slot left, I formation. Foreman is the deep back. And they give to the first man, Brett McClanahan. Breaks on the 1 man across the 40 up to the 44-yard line. Goes Brett McClanahan. McClinton again in the secondary, making the tackle for the Redskins. Another 10-yard pickup, and Brett now has 90 yards in 12 carries. And they'll measure again, and he might be an inch shy, but he's got 10 yards on the game.
Well, McClanahan is having truly an outstanding day.
Well, now, wait a minute. Very, very close, and he's going to be no more than 2 inches short.
Short of the first down.
Well, they got to give him 10 yards on that game. Oh, they give him 9. Come on, guys. Well, I'll have to talk to our stat crew again. Anything over half, they're supposed to give him another yard, and that one was just 2 inches short. 9-yard pickup for Brent McClanahan. 2nd down and an inch at the 44-yard line. Craig is in the block. They leave one wide receiver in. And they give now to Foreman. He's going to try the right side. He breaks the corner. He's across the 50. Still on his feet at the 45, down to the 43-yard line of Redskins territory. A quick turn to the right corner and cutting back in. McClinton again on the tackle, and he must be getting a little tired right now, making all the hits in the secondary. Chuck Foreman quickly skirting the right side. He almost ran into Ron Urie, who pulled the block for him. But then he cut sharply back inside and knifed into the secondary at the 43-yard line of Redskin territory. Another first down.
They had ran the cross block on the outside, and Foreman tried to get outside. There was some penetration from the linebacker. Chuck outran it and then got into the secondary.
Foreman now with 88 yards for the game. High formation. And they give to the second man, Foreman. Tries to hurdle laterally and gets away from one man and then gets put down at about the 42-yard line. Dennis Johnson made the tackle. Dave Butts was the man who had him lined up in his sights, and then Foreman gave him that kind of sidewinder move and took it away. It's at the 42-yard line, a gain of 1. 2nd down and 9. Foreman, 89 yards and 17 carries. McClanahan, 89 yards and 12 carries. And we might have 2 backs go with a century mark today. Shades of San Francisco, only reversed. Has that ever happened in Viking football history before? I don't think so. Slot to the left side, deuce backfield. Now in motion. To the right side goes McClanahan. Fran will throw a quick pop in. Caught by Sammy White. Jukes comes to the near sideline. Tries to get away. Can't do so, but he's finally hauled into the 30-yard line. Kenny Houston over the top to make the shirt tail helmet grab. First down to the Vikes at the Redskins 30-yard line, and they keep on marching.
Well, that was the first pass in this drive, which has already lasted 52 yards.
3:45 to go in the third period. The Vikes lead it 28-3 and are driving for another apparent score at the Redskins 30-yard line, 1st and 10.
This almost looks like one of those games in which the Vikes will be able to name their score, particularly if they get something here.
White wide to the right, Rashad wide to the near side. Again, McClanahan out of the deuce, coming in motion to the left. They give to Foreman, tries the right tackle slot, shreds one man, twists all the way around, and gets down to the 26-yard line. Darren Talbot made the tackle on the play. A gain of 4. It'll be 2nd down and 6, and Foreman now with 93 yards and 20 carries this afternoon.
The Redskins are starting to gamble. Chris Hamburger has blitzed on the last 2 plays. They're trying to force the Vikes to fumble or make a mistake or something of that nature.
Fran, very, very adept at reading the blitz. Probably better than anyone else in the NFL. The Lions threw everything at him but the kitchen sink, and he had his best passing game. Sammy White was 2 steps away from 4 touchdowns receptions that afternoon. Slot right, deuce backfield. 2nd down 4. They give to McClanahan. He beats the man, cuts back inside, and he's going to get smeared. He may have gotten a yard on the play. They'll see where they mark it. Brundage was there, along with McClinton and Hamburger, but he did a heck of a job getting back to the line of scrimmage because Hamburger had blitzed again and had a hold of him back at about the 28-yard line. Well, he lost maybe an inch. It'll be 3rd down and 6.
It's a real pleasure to see this. The Redskins, while I guess you and I would say that they're hopelessly out of this game, behind by 22 points, are still in there plugging away. They're coming with blitzes, and they're stunning and doing things of that nature, trying to get the ball back.
White wide to the right, Rashad wide to the near side. Throw set behind Tarkington. Francis back to pass, over the middle, and it's caught by Stu Boyd, and he's down to about the 13-yard line. 1st down. He split Jake Scott and Kenny Houston, the 2 safeties, and they finally wrestle him down. And Stu Boyd just came up with another big catch. His friend hit him right on the money. 1st down at the 12-yard line in Redskin territory with 1:45 and counting left to go in the 3rd period. The Vikes lead it 28-6.
That particular play can answer the question for many people who wonder why teams don't blitz more, particularly when they're behind. You really take a chance. You're trying to create a big play situation, and you really leave yourself just a little bit short, a little bit open in other areas.
Boyd's got 4 for 42 today. Rashad wide to the right, White wide to the left. And Francis gives inside to McClanahan. He tries to jerk that last leg away. He's inside the 10, struggles to about the 8-yard line, and again, McClinton in on the stop, and he's beaten in on a lot of them today. It'll be 2nd down and 5. The ball at the Redskin 8-yard line. Francis is 11 of 20 for 161 yards through the air, a pair of touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Now they pull out Brundage, and Johnson is back in. 42 degrees, the current temperature here at the Met. That's enough to shock anybody. Wide to the right, Rashad. White wide to the near side. Deuce backfield on 2nd and 5 from the 8-yard line, and Francis will throw. Looks in the left corner of the end zone. White, touchdown! Oh, what else can this young man do?
What a drive. Takes about 7 minutes, 82 yards, 11 plays, no incomplete passes, no plays thrown for a loss, just right up and just down the field like every play was designed and drawn up.
3 touchdown passes for Fran the man today. 2 of them to the rookie Sammy White. It's a 34-6 rout. 37 seconds left to go in the 3rd period. Now the officials call a time, and they line up for the extra point attempt. Now, who would have thought this? Not many people, I guarantee you. Kraus holds. There's a snap. There's the kick. It's good. 45-6, the Vikes piling it on. The Washington Redskins. And we have just 37 seconds left to play in the 3rd period. It's 35-6. The Vikings lead it.
As you football fans know, the Vikings face a lot of stiff competition in the NFL. But season after season, the Vikes always manage to come out ahead of the pack. And the same holds true with Twin City Federal in the Thrift League. There's a lot of stiff competition vying for your savings dollar. But after all the smoke is cleared, after you, the saver, decides which is the best place to put your money, safe, sound, Twin City Federal always comes out ahead of the pack. Yes, TCF is a thrift leader in these parts by a long way, with resources totaling over $1.5 billion. And TCF is resourceful in another way, too, like in new and imaginative ways to make saving easier, more convenient. TCF led the way in pass card savings, for example. With your handy TCF pass card, you can deposit, withdraw, even cash checks at pass card savings centers throughout our area. TCF, safe, sound, strong, and so resourceful.
3:30 to go in the 3rd period. The Vikes lead it 28-6.
That's what makes Twin City Federal the thrift leader.
5-6 the score. The Vikes officially went 76 yards in 11 plays and had the ball for 6 minutes and 39 seconds. There's 37 seconds left to play here in the third period. Redskins again scattered out all over the field. Fred Cox moves forward, hits a long line drive kick down the middle. Brown at the 5 again. To the 10, coming to the near sideline at 15. Hurdles one man, gets hit and made at the 24-yard line. Again, Freddie McNeil on the tackle. His third downfield tackle today. And Blair and Willen Hall both came over to congratulate him on the play.
Super play by McNeil. He hustled down. He was down in the first wave, made a move to avoid the first blocker, and when Eddie Brown tried to leap over a pile, McNeil met him and stopped him right on the spot.
Well, the ball at the 23-yard line. The attendance today, 47,221 here, only 948 no-shows. All right, double wing left, first down for the Redskins at their own 23. Kilmer back to pass, pumps once, twice, throws, sideline pass, and it is incomplete. Knocked out of bounds was Roy Jefferson. I think he juggled the ball long enough. And Bobby Brandt knocked it across the sidelines before he could hang on to it. Again, Jefferson having trouble. It'll be second down and 10. Kilmer, 12 of 28 for 140 yards. And he's had very little success here in the second half. Only one completion. And that was a 20-yarder to the tight end, Gene Fugit. The 35 points the Vikes have scored already this afternoon, their highest point total since the opening game of the year down in the Superdome. We had 30 in the first half, thanks to the generosity of the New Orleans Saints. Now they give to Thomas, coming back to the short side. And he gets bowled over at the 25-yard line. I believe it is a fumble. Big pile up at the 24. The Redskins apparently retained possession. Nate Wright just low-bridged him right around the knees. They'll mark it at the 25-yard line. It'll be third down and 8. No fumble, and there's the end of the third period. Here at the Mets, the score, the Vikes 35, the Washington Redskins 6.
It doesn't always take a lot of money to get a lot of snowmobile. John Deere's green machines, the 300 and the 400, are two sleds the whole family can enjoy. There's plenty of performance from the 300's piston-ported 292cc engine and the 400's big lead valve 339cc engine. The bogey wheel suspension provides a smooth, comfortable ride in all kinds of snow conditions, even marginal snow. And best of all, they can take a lot of punishment without taking you to the repair shop. The dependability and durability that John Deere is famous for is built into the green machine. You can see them at your local John Deere dealer. And while you're there, take a look at the high-performance liquid-cooled liquefier and the race-bred Cyclone. You'll see why this year, nothing runs like a Deere.
Well, it's carnival time here at the Met. The fourth period, just about to get underway in this playoff game. The Vikes, 35-6 over the Redskins, 47,221 on hand, sunbathing here in a middle December day. Oh, man.
When you announced 42 degrees, I'm sure some of the people said above or below.
Yeah. Well, the Redskins will have it 3rd and 7 on their own 26-yard line. This has been total annihilation today by the Vikes. Wouldn't it be nice if they played this way next week? And if they play this way next week, I don't care whether it's the Rams or the Cowboys, we're going Super Bowling again. Jorgenberg is pulled. Nate Allen in as the 5th defensive back. They send Jefferson wide to the near side. Grant split wide to the right about 8 yards outside the tight end Fugit. Loose backfield. Kilmer starting the fourth quarter with a pass. Over the middle. Incomplete. He overthrew his intended receiver, Mike Thomas, out of the backfield. He was covered by Nate Allen. 4th down and 7. The Redskins are forced to punt once again, trailing 35-6. They are 1 of 11 in third down conversion. The Vikes 3 of 9. Well, the crowd here has got to be enjoying this one.
Beautiful sunny afternoon and a great game if you're a Viking fan. Poor Kilmer's not having a very good day passing, and his receivers, when he does get the ball to them, can't seem to hang on.
Bragg in the punt. Flips his hands a couple of times. It's not that cold, Mike. Maybe it is on the Redskin bench. He gets the kick away, and he hangs a beauty. High, spiraling kick. Way over to the far side, and it bounces out of bounds, and they'll see where they mark it. In the vicinity of the 35-yard line. More game action coming up in a moment to score. The Vikes 35, the Redskins 6.
The Twin City Federal folks know that most of you are working when they're open, and that's why Pass Card Saving Centers are such a good idea. They're located at many of your favorite shopping places: Dayton's, Powers, Zare, Shopper City, Red Owl, and Snyder Drugs. They're open as long as those stores are open, which is many hours every day, including weekends and holidays. In other words, you can deposit money in your Twin City Federal Pass Card savings account at times and places convenient for you. And you can use your money from your savings account to go shopping, and you earn interest on it until you take it out. And that's interest-earning cash. A Twin City Federal Pass Card savings account is a mighty good idea. It makes your savings account a lot more useful. So, no doubt about it, this is the age of Pass Card, and Twin City Federal is the Pass Card leader. Twin City Federal, where the famous twin clocks flash time and temperature. Now flashing 25 minutes after 2 o'clock, and the temperature 42 degrees.
Well, Robert E. Lee will now direct the Viking fortunes, probably for the rest of the afternoon, with a 35-6 lead. Tarkington leaves 3/4 of action, 12 of 21 for 170 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. The Vikes will have it at their own 42-yard line. It's impossible for us to tell what the angle is over on the far sidelines, or even the near sidelines on a kick like that. And the Vikes break the huddle. McClanahan and Foreman are still the running backs. Rashad wide to the right, Sammy in the slot. Redskins stunning a bit on the line now. Bobby Lee gives to McClanahan, and he is going to be driven down for a loss. Back at about the 37-yard line. He's going to lose about 5 there. Chris Hanberger and Dave Butts bring him down. Let's not lose too much, Brent. He had 92 yards and 14 carries prior to that one.
Come on, Mac.
A loss of 4. Now got 88 and 15. Second down, 14 yards to go. The ball on the Viking 38-yard line. They lead it by 29. White wide to the right. Rashad wide to the left. I'd like to see Lee get a couple of completions in here. And a tumble and a pile-up, and I think McClanahan fell on the ball back at the 33-yard line. He was going to go to Chuck Foreman. He was already by Bobby. And he handed it off to nobody, really, and McClanahan has made his second fumble recovery of the afternoon. That'll be 3rd and 18. The Vikes going in reverse for the first time today.
Well, the Redskins are still...
They're still hitting people.
They're still blitzing everybody. We've got Hanberger got down in the line as a lineman that time and came ahead and blitzed.
3rd and 18. Rashad wide to the left. Sammy White wide to the near side. Deuce backfield behind Bobby Lee. And he hands off to McClanahan, ran into him, and Brent struggles across the 35 and gets back up to about the 39-yard line. So he's going to get the 4 he lost plus a yard or 2. Hanberger and Brundage brought him down. 4th down and 13. A gain of 5 for Brent makes him 93 yards for the afternoon. We have 13-13 left to go.
Sure like to see McClanahan get 100 yards, but there's little sense in keeping him in there and letting him get beat up when you have 2 very capable replacements.
Eddie Brown is deep in a single safety. Claybo in the punt. There's a snap. And there's a kick. And Claybo hits a beauty. High. Wobbly kick. Brown waits for it at the 13. Gives ground. Comes to the near side. At the 15-yard line. Spins away. Hits. Slides off of one man. Gives ground, and they get buried at the 15-yard line. Back and forth on the near sidelines. It was Sammy Johnson and Wes Hamilton who finally caught up with him. Well, with 12:34 to go in the game, the score is 35-6 in favor of the Vikes. Now, this word from Pabst Blue Ribbon Beer. Joe McConnell and Grady Alderman back at the Met, where the Redskins will take over on their own 15-yard line. A 49-yard Claybo punt, a 3-yard return by Eddie Brown, who had to run about 15 to get the 3.
Joe, we have an announcement here about tickets for next Sunday's game. The NFC Championship game will be played here, and the tickets will go on sale here at the Met immediately following today's game. Tomorrow, the ticket offices will be open from noon to 5 at the Vikings office at 7110 France Avenue South. Monday, the Vikes office beginning at 9 a.m.
All right, coming in motion back towards the line on the right side is Roy Jefferson. Penalty flag thrown. Kilmer rifles it downfield, and another great catch by Fugit, who held on to it, I believe. Make that Jefferson. Jefferson finally hung on to one, and that was a tough grab at the 44-yard line, but a penalty flag was thrown in the vicinity of the line of scrimmage, and it might appear to be... Well, now the Vikes are coming upfield, so it appears to be against the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, I think that right in Jimmy Marshall got offside, moved a little bit too quickly, but perhaps there was some movement in the Redskin line.
The score is 35-6 in favor of the Vikes. We'll pause for station identification.
This is WCCO, St. Paul and Minneapolis at 830 at 2:30, 42 degrees.
First and 10 for the Redskins at the 34.
Now the Redskins have it at their own 34-yard line. A 19-yard pass play to Roy Jefferson. He's wide to the left, Grant wide to the right.
Again, Kilmer sets up quickly, throws downfield. Grant with a great catch at the 50-yard line. Still on his feet across the 50 into Viking territory at the 48. His Paul Krause hung on long enough to get help from Amos Martin. And also, I believe Jeff Wright was in there. But it's another first down as Grant made a fine catch on the play. It's at the 48-yard line in Viking territory.
I think that Winland Hall is in there. Probably at strong safety. Yep, Winland's in a strong safety. Krause at weak safety. Bryant at the right corner, and Nate Wright at the left corner.
Now the Redskins on 2 successive Kilmer completions now, moving the ball in the Viking territory at the 48, slide right, deuce backfield. And Kilmer gives to Riggins, coming back to the left side, tries to step to the outside, gets a turn at the 45 out of bounds. At the 39-yard line, chased out by Nate Allen. Riggins with about a 9-yard pickup. It'll be second down and 1.
Well, he is awfully, awfully tough. When he gets to the outside and gets that head of steam up the field, he is awfully tough for those defensive backs to bring down.
Dan Nugent, who just came into the game, a 250-pound guard, made a fine block on that play, springing Riggins to the outside. A gain of 9, it'll be second down and 1. Riggins now with 14 yards and 6 carries. Slot right, Fugit, the tight end split, about 5 yards wide to the near left side. Kilmer going to throw. Quick square out to the tight end. Fugit knocked away and almost picked off by Bobby Bryant on the near sidelines. He'd have had a touchdown if he'd hung on to that one. Boy, they knew that was coming right away.
Bobby Bryant defending.
Bobby's had some afternoon, as have quite a few of the Vikings. It'll be third down and 1 at the Minnesota 39. Kilmer is 14 of 32 for 177 yards. He's had 2 intercepted, one by Bryant, one by Nate Wright. The Vikes had only 19 interceptions this year, while the Redskins picked off 26, second best in the NFL. The Rams picked off 32, would you believe? They give to Riggins. He's got the first down. Big hole at the 35, the 30, to 25, and finally hauled down at the 23-yard line by Winland Hall. Big hole opened up off left tackle as he cut back in. And there's the longest ground gainer of the day for the Redskins. Well, correct that. Thomas had picked up 20 on an earlier drive in the second half, but that's Riggins' best run of the afternoon. And it's first down at the Viking 23-yard line, a pickup of 16 yards.
Well, the Redskins have gone just about 55 yards in 5 plays here. I'd like to see this Viking defense reverse that trend.
Grant wide to the right, Jefferson wide to the near side. The intensity may be gone a little bit now with a one-sided game. High formation, Kilmer fakes to the deep man, back to pass, throws over the middle, and it's dropped by Frank Grant, who hooked up behind Amos Martin. If Amos had turned around a little bit quicker than that, he might have had an interception.
Now, I think the ball was behind him, but that's Amos's job is to run out there and just try and get in between the receiver and the quarterback, and he was in perfect position because Grant couldn't see the ball either.
Second down and 10. The clock stopped with 10:53 to go. Alan Page comes back out onto the field of play. And here comes Duck White, I believe.
No, that's Mulaney.
Mulaney, 77 instead of 72. Couldn't get the right angle on him. Kyle Huller leaves. Second down and 10. The Redskins on the Viking 23-yard line. Grant wide to the near left side. Jefferson split wide to the right. Kilmer will throw. Stays in the pocket. Has time. Swings it out of the right flat, and it's caught. And out of bounds at the 12-yard line goes the tight end, Gene Fugit. He was run out of there by Matt Blair. And it should be enough for the first down, and it is. First down for the Redskins on the Viking 12-yard line. A pickup of 11, and Fugit has been their leading receiver this afternoon. Got off to a slow start.
Yeah, but he hasn't been any better than our tight end.
No, he hasn't. He's caught 3 for 41. Kilmer's going to wind up throwing about 50 passes this afternoon. Calvin Hill is a running back now. Hill and Riggins in the set. Lewis wide, Grant wide to the right. Jefferson wide to the near side. Kilmer drops back to pass. Quickly over the middle, and a catch for the touchdown of Frank Grant. Grant on a slant in, caught that ball at the goal line, beating Nate Wright as Kilmer threw off the wrong foot. He was still dropping back as he rifled that right down the middle, and Grant made a fine catch, cutting right in front of Nate Wright for the touchdown, and the Redskins have scored their first touchdown of the game to make it a 35-12 score with 10:42 left to play.
Well, lest our fans think that that was a give-up touchdown, Nate Wright was right on Grant's back, and it was a fine throw and an excellent catch by Grant, and the Vikings defense played it very well. They had a linebacker back there, and of course Wright was right on top of the play. It was just a very well-executed offensive effort by the Redskins.
There's the extra point attempt by Mosley, and he's rifles it through, and the score now. The Minnesota Vikings 35, the Washington Redskins 13. How about that drive, Brady?
85 yards in 8 plays. Kilmer only had, I think he had one incompletion. Other than that, every play was a positive play, and they took off that yardage in big chunks, starting with a 15 or 20-yard pass play on the first play. Then they got another first down on a run, a couple more big runs, and of course these last two passes. They made it look pretty easy on that play, and I'm sure that they're feeling they could have done that all day had they been clicking. But I think the Viking defense still would have been in control.
Number 80, Len Willis, deep for the Vikings.
Well, Willis will be deep now for Mosley's kickoff, and of course you might expect to see an onside kick, and that's exactly what the Vikings are expecting, as they bring everybody up, with the exception of Willis, who is standing by his lonesome back at the 10-yard line, at least 35 yards away from his nearest teammate. The Vikes will have no less than 6 men across the front, and 4 men backing them up. You got some guys with some pretty good hands there. Boyd on this side, Sammy Johnson, Matt Blair. Bobby Grimm is one of the secondary men.
Mooney Winston out there?
Yeah, he's on the left side. In one from Steve Craig, who's guarding the left sidelines.
Then that's what we call the short kick return team.
Yeah. Mosley hits it deep. High end over under, and he hit it way deep. Willis all the way back into the end zone, and he's going to wisely drop down to one knee and bring it out to the 20-yard line. And that's the first touchback I think we've had this year in regular season play. We had a couple down in Miami.
That was a pretty chancy thing that Willis did, unless he knew precisely where he was. But had he caught the ball on the one and then backed himself into the end zone and touched it down, the ball would have been dead on the one. No, it would have been a safety. But if your momentum carries you into the end zone, you get the ball where you caught it, which would have been the 1-yard line, and he was pretty close to the end zone there.
Well, he actually caught it, I think, just about a half step from the goal line, but he had to run back under it. Bobby Lee, the quarterback, and to give to Chuck Foreman. He's going to try the right side, cuts back in, twisting, spinning, still on his feet, gets up to about the 24-yard line before he's wrestled and finally brought down. He spun right off the back of Brent McClanahan, who was leading the block on the play. Tyron Talbot and Brad Dusick, the linebacker on the left side, made the tackle on the play. Chuck should have 97 yards now, make it 98 yards in 19 carries. So he needs 2 more to hit the century mark. Bobby Grimm is in at wide receiver now. We've got 10 minutes to go in the game. It's 35-13. The Vikes with a one-sided game here over the Washington Redskins this afternoon. Wide to the left is Rashad. Grimm is wide to the near side. Bobby Lee, the quarterback. And he gives to Brent McClanahan. And McClanahan gets to the 26-yard line. About 2 yards, maybe a yard and a half on the play. McClinton and Houston making the tackle on the play. It'll be 3rd down and 3. The ball at the 27. Give him 2 yards on the play. So Brent McClanahan closing in on the century mark with 95 yards and 17 carries.
Well, we'd like to see him pick up this first down here and control the ball for a few more minutes.
Rashad again sent wide to the left. Grimm wide to the near side. Pat Fisher playing up tight. Now the Redskins want to blitz. And an inside handoff goes to McClanahan, and he gets the first down, I believe, as he battles out to the 31-yard line. Inside trap blocking as they read the blitz. And an inside handoff goes to McClanahan, and he gets the first down, I believe, as he battles out to the 31-yard line. Inside trap blocking as they read the blitz. And McClanahan sprung free there, even though he had a couple of arms on him. Jake Scott finally wrestled him down with help from Ron McDowell. The ball at the 31-yard line, first down for the Vikes.
Yep, they split the 2 tackles who were trying to pinch off the inside. They had some good blocking in there between Tingelhoff and White and Goodrum. And McClanahan just split the middle and made a fine run.
Brett has 99 yards, Foreman 98. First down for the Vikes now. Grimm wide to the left. Rashad wide to the near side. And again to McClanahan. And he's got his first 100-yard game in the NFL as he picks up a couple of yards up to the 34-yard line. Hey, we got some people listening to us here today, Grady.
Yeah.
The ball at the 33-yard line. 2nd down and 8. How many times does a running back get a cheer from the home team for picking up 2 yards in the middle of a drive in a one-sided ball game late in the game? 101 yards and 19 carries for Brent McClanahan. Wide to the left, Rashad. Again, Grimm wide to the near side. Boost backfield. Let's see if Foreman gets it this time. He's got it. He breaks one tackle, gets up to the 40-yard line. Foreman goes over the century mark. And that may be the first time in Viking history that 2 running backs have gained over 100 yards on the same afternoon. Hamburger and Houston brought him down. The ball is at the 40-yard line. It'll be 3rd and 1.
I'm trying to think back to in the early 60s when Tommy Mason and Bill Brown were having good years at the same time, whether they both did it, and I really can't recall.
Well, if I'm a betting man, I'll say no. There weren't that many 100-yard games back in those days.
Hey, we had a heck of a team.
I didn't say you didn't. First time. First time. And they just announced it to the crowd here. All right, 3rd down and 1. The short yardage men are in. And the give to McClanahan, I believe, yes. And I think he's got the first down. It's going to be very close. Big pile up at about the 41-yard line. Dion Talbot made the tackle on the play with help from Pat Fisher.
This is one of those situations where it just depends on where the official puts his foot down.
7:07 left to go.
He didn't get it.
No, he didn't. Going to be about a foot shy. 4th down, less than a yard. And the Vikes want to go for it. McClanahan clapping his hands. Let's go for it. And they're going to measure. They're going to call a measurement in. All they have to do is ask us. They're about a foot short.
Yeah, but this is just a ploy. It gives the coaches in the press box time to think about... It gives the coaches in the press box time to think about what they want to call. That's serious, Joe. I'm not kidding. They want to think about this.
Decide 2 feet.
Yep, they're going to decide whether to go for it, and if they do decide to go for it, then what they want to use to make the attempt.
Well, I think they're going to go for it. I don't think there's any question about that. 4th down, about a foot and a half to go. Clock has resumed its downward trek. Less than 7 minutes to go. The Vikes break the huddle. They're at their own 40-yard line. They lead it 35-13. 4th down, less than a yard. I'd like to see a sweep myself. See what happens here. White, wing to the right. And Lee is going to keep it. Nice for the first down, but an illegal procedure penalty is going to be called.
Yep.
That was a smart play by Bobby Lee, though. He turned around to hand off to somebody. Nobody was there, so he just dove right over the line and did pick up the necessary yardage, I believe. Which would...
I thought he had it, too, and I sure...
they brought that ball back.
Golly.
He looked to be at least to the 41, and they have brought that ball back. Now, this puts it in a different light. If he did not make it, the Redskins have the ball at the 40-yard line. If he did make it, they'll take the 5-yard penalty, and the Vikes will probably punt it away.
Oh, I think they're going to call the play dead or call the penalty before...
Yeah, I think they are. Yep, it's going to be 4th down and 5, and now the Vikings send in their kicking unit. So they whistle that play dead.
I'm sure they didn't give the Redskins the option there.
It is 4th and 6 for the Vikings at their...
Keep your hands off my sugar cookies. Oh, a little bit of Christmas in the booth here today. Thanks to one of those lovely young ladies down in the press room. Claybo in the punt. Back is Eddie Brown. There's the snap. The rush is on, but not much of a rush. There's another high boomer by Claybo. Brown all the way back to his 22-yard line. Nate Wright has it pinned in. Now he reverses field. Duke steps at the 25, and it's pinned down at the 27-yard line. And again, it was Windland Hall down there to make the tackle on the play. And I got to say this about Windland Hall. In talking with Bud Grant yesterday in the press conference, I raised the question, how many times has it happened when a player comes into a veteran ball club like the Vikes and immediately becomes named one of the co-captains? And he said, well, Windland Hall is the most unusual man. And I asked Bud to amplify on that statement. He said, Windland Hall came in here, and in 2 weeks, he knew what every assignment was on the special units. He checked with everybody to make sure they had their assignments when they came out on the field. He also checked to see if they were injured. Everything was okay. He just quietly assumed that leadership and was voted unanimously as the special teams captain for the Vikings. And that says a lot about a young man who came in from a different ball club.
Yeah, it sure does. And you say they voted, well, I don't know how the vote went, but had it been Bud against everybody else, Bud would have won.
Well, I was wrong and you were right, Grady. Bill Brown and Tommy Mason both rushed for 100 yards in the same game on September 13th, 1964 against Baltimore. So it's the second time in Viking history, but the first time in playoff history that the Vikes have had 2 running backs to go over 100 yards.
We won the game 30-20. The Colts went on to win 9 in a row. We played them in the 10th game, and they were scared to death of us.
What was the final?
They beat us 14-10. We had a penalty late in the game, yeah.
I thought you were going to tell me it was 37-3 or something like that.
And that's why I remarked that Oakland may be a little bit wary of that New England team they have to go against this afternoon.
Redskins had it now on their own 28-yard line. Coming back in motion on the left side is Jefferson. The fake, back to pass. Kilmer steps up, throws over the middle, and it's incomplete, intended for Jefferson, and Windland Hall broke it up. And that was a lame duck pass if I ever saw one. Alan Page put a tremendous rush on as Kilmer stepped out and then up and got rid of the ball. Of course, Biller's never been known for that pretty pass. He's kind of like Bobby Lane in that regard. He'll throw it end over end sometimes, but he generally gets it gets the job done. He is now 17 of 36 for an even 200 yards.
I think that one would have gone for a double because it was between everyone.
Second down and 10. The ball at the 28 with 6:23 to go. The Vikes have locked up a trip. Well, not a trip, but at least a berth in the NFC title game, which will be played here a week from tomorrow. Back to pass. Kilmer under heavy pressure again. Hangs it up in the air. Fugit reaches for it. Can't quite handle it. He's pulled out as soon as the ball got there by Bobby Bryant. Incomplete at the 45-yard line of Viking territory. Fugit looks over his shoulder at the official. That was not an offensive or a defensive pass interference call because he had reached for the ball and Bryant hit him just as it got there.
It was a well-timed play by Bobby Bryant, and that ball was very well thrown. Kilmer throws the long ball much better than he does the short one because he can lay it up. It's more a finesse pass than it is a strength pass. And I see we've got Jim White in at right end for Jim Marshall.
The Duck.
And the Duck will get some penetration.
Yeah, he's the number 1 draft choice this year out of Oklahoma State. 263-pounder. Back to pass Kilmer on third down. Over the middle. And it's juggled and caught. And in the mud. The running back is smeared on the play by Matt Blair as he just cut Calvin Hill in half at the 34-yard line. Hill was lucky to hang on to it after he juggled it on that first step. Because just as soon as he latched onto the ball, Blair latched onto him. At the 34-yard line, it'll be 4th and 4.
I have a hunch that Hill wishes he had not caught that ball.
Well, the Redskins will punt with 5:48 to go and counting. 35-13. 5-13. The Vikes on top. And another well-deserved cheer for the defensive unit. Well, the Vikes aren't really expecting a punt here. They're not dropping back anybody. Willis is the beat man at about the 50-yard line. Let's give Bragg an opportunity to get his longest kick of the year if he can hammer one. He's going to kick it. And he doesn't hit it very good. High wobbler, and Willis goes back and makes the fair catch at the Viking 34-yard line.
That was Bobby Bryant back
Bobby
there.
Bryant. All right, we haven't seen Bobby back there in a long time.
Well, let's hope that there's nothing anatomically wrong with Willis. No, I see Lenny's in the field as a receiver now.
Matt Blair was shaken up on that last hit of Calvin Hill, but he appears to be all right. Just a little shaky on the play. That was not a long punt. Sammy Johnson and Robert Miller are now in the backfield. Now they're both foremen. And McClanahan have gained their 100-plus. And we also have Ronnie Willis and Bobby Grimm at wide receiver. Another reminder, tickets for a week from Sunday's NFC Championship game here at the Met will go on sale right here immediately following the game this afternoon. Then from tomorrow, from noon until 5 at the Viking office at 7110 France Avenue South. And on Monday, the Viking office beginning at 9 a.m. So there'll be a land rush for the tickets for the NFC Championship game here a week from tomorrow against the winner of the Dallas-Los Angeles game tomorrow in Big D.
Steve Cook has guaranteed this kind of weather for next week.
You want to take it? I'm eating my sugar cookie.
That you probably stole from Steve Cook?
No, he stole it. Tried to steal it from me a minute ago. Of course, he laid it out there.
Well, the people are starting to leave just a little bit. I don't know if they're going out to the parking lot to tailgate.
They're going out to Sunday.
They're just going to try and beat the traffic.
They're already getting in line for tickets.
Which wouldn't be a bad idea.
All right, Willis and Grimm are wide. Bobby Lee hands off to Robert Miller. Stutter step, looking for room, gets to the line of scrimmage and is bowled. It'll be second down and about 10 yards to go.
We've got Wes Hamilton in at left guard now in place of Goodrum. Or did you say that?
No, I didn't say that. Starting time will be at noon, a week from tomorrow. Noon kickoff here at the Met. NFC Championship game. The Vikes have been there 3 times before, have never lost. Let's hope that's a good omen. Second down and 10. The ball at the Viking 35-yard line. And to give to Sammy Johnson, spinning and gets knocked down at the 37-yard line. A gain of 2 as Dave Butts pinned him. It'll be third down and 8. Playing out the string here at the Met with 4.5 minutes to go.
Just in case we have any Redskin fans listening, they really don't have anything to be ashamed of. This Redskin team has fought back from a lot of adversity this year, and more than one person had them written off when they were 3-2. I can remember Coach Grant even remarking to me that when they lost to the Bears, he said, I have a hunch that the Redskins are going to lose a lot of games this year.
All right, third and 8. Willis wide to the near side, Grimm wide to the left. Lee hands off to Robert Miller, trying the left side, and he is not going to get anywhere.
ran laterally and got back to the line of scrimmage. It'll be 4th down and about 2 yards to go, and 8 yards to go, and the Vikes will be forced to punt. From their own, give him a yard. Got to the 38, 4th and 7. Dennis Johnson ran him down. Claybo in the punt again with 3 minutes and 40 seconds to go. The Vikes against the winner of the LA-Dallas game here a week from tomorrow, beginning at noon. Tickets going on sale almost immediately. Claybo has had, might be his best game punting-wise this year also this afternoon.
Well, there's very little wind to affect the drop, and he's hit the ball quite well.
And he hangs another beauty, a driving spiral. Johnson all the way back, Brown all the way back to the 16. He freezes, now gives ground. Mullaney slides off. He turns the corner. A clip has been called. He's to the 25 and 30. Finally run down from behind by Robert Miller at the 38-yard line. But a clip has been called at about the 14-yard line.
And that's too bad because Eddie Brown didn't need that clip. He had already made the move to spring himself free, and it was an excellent return.
Pete Wysocki was the man who was guilty of the infraction. That'll pin him back at about the 7-yard line with 2:59 remaining.
That is one of the most exciting plays in football, and Brown has not had an opportunity to do much today until this return, and you can see how he does it. He did a little dance, gets everyone bunched up, then gives some ground and uses his quickness to get outside, and then he turned it on up the field, and he's faster than I thought he was.
Well, they mark it at the 8-yard line. 1st down for the Skins with 2:59 to go. Later on today, New England at Oakland in the 1st round of the AFC playoffs.
The clipping penalty on the punt return.
Grant comes wide to the left. Frank Grant. Roy Jefferson wide to the right. Loose backfield behind Kilmer. He'll throw. Sets up in his own end zone. Swings it out the left flat. Caught by Calvin Hill, and he's knifed down at the 12-yard line on a driving tackle by Freddie McNeil, who's in now at linebacker. McNeil is in there in place
of Hilgenberg.
And Hilgenberg and Roy Winston, the 15-year veteran from LSU, getting some rare playing time here today, in place now of Matt Blair, who was shaken up in the last defensive series.
Speaking of Roy Winston, I doubt that there's any defensive player on the field on either team that knows any more about defensive football.
Back to pass is Kilmer over the middle to Riggins. He slides to the outside, cross the 20, 25, counts at the 26-yard line by Little Woodland Hall. And it'll be another 1st down for the Redskins at their own 26-yard line. The clock continues to run, 2 minutes and 10 seconds to go. And we may get to the 2-minute mark before the next play can unfold. 13-yard pickup, the ball at the 26-yard line. And the 2-minute warning now is being sounded to both benches. The score, the Minnesota Vikings 35, the Washington Redskins 13.
Drinking Happy is celebrating Christmas with the friends and family you love in the home where you love to be. Everybody at Twin City Federal hopes that all of you are finding that kind of happiness. Drinking Happy is a prize to win. Drinking Happy is a day to win. Drinking Happy is a lot of things.
Joe McConnell and Grady Alderman back at the net. Well, Foreman and McClanahan for the afternoon carried the ball 40 times and gained 206 yards. Foreman 105 and 21. McClanahan 101 and 19. Foreman also scored 2 touchdowns, one of them on a 30-yard run. Kilmer back to pass, swings it out the left flat, and it's dropped by Calvin Hill. Picked up on the bounce by Duck White, who was hoping they'd call out a lateral, but not so. 2nd down and 10 with 1:57 to go. Twin City Federal and WCCO Radio purchased the broadcast rights of the Minnesota Viking football game for the sole pleasure and convenience of you, the listening audience. No broadcast, rebroadcast, or reproduction is permitted without the authority of the Minnesota Vikings, WCCO Radio, and Twin City Federal. And our thanks again to our fine home broadcast booth crew, our staff man Jack Bleasy, our spotter Steve Cook, our engineer Don Haber, and our production coordinator Jack Douglas. Kilmer again back to pass on 2nd and 10. Over the middle he goes, and it's caught by Fugit, who eluded Bobby Bryant's arm tackle and falls to the 46-yard line. Another 1st down for the Redskins. They picked up 20 on that one. And they're moving the ball now with 1:40 to go. And now the official suspends play momentarily to allow Doug Sutherland to get back across the line of scrimmage. Without a huddle, Kilmer on the first count drops back to pass, wings it downfield, and it's caught again, this time by Jefferson, who's spun and dropped at the 36-yard line in Viking territory by Nate Wright. And the Redskins now use up a timeout with a minute and a half to go. They're trying to get another face-saving touchdown on the boards. Autry Beeman checks into the Viking secondary now. And Amos Martin goes over to confer with the defensive coaches. Amos has played the entire second half, about half of the second quarter when Jeff Seaman pulled a thigh muscle, and we hope that Jeff is ready to go next week in the NFC Championship game here at the Met. Boy, he started off with a super game today.
Yeah, I think we ought to point out that Amos Martin has filled in very, very well for Jeff. Amos has made some very key tackles and in tough situations and has played very well. It's often difficult.
Oh, they're pulling out. They're pulling out Sutherland and Page, and they're putting Marshall and Eller back in there, which means that Mullaney and White will now line up at the tackle positions.
Now, they've also taken out Winston, and I don't know if they have left.
They got another defensive back. Beeman is in there.
Yeah, they've left in Amos Martin. They have 6 defensive backs and Amos Martin.
Back to pass. Kilmer on first down. Scrambling. Eluding the rush. On the move. He throws. Incomplete. Bad pass. Well, he ran out of the pocket. He was running for his life as Marshall and White were putting the rush on him. And he threw a very bad pass there. Incomplete. It was low and wobbly and to no one in particular. It'll be second down and 10 with a minute 25 to go. We said Kilmer might wind up throwing 50 passes. Well, he's got 44 right now. 21 of 44 for 263 yards and 1 touchdown.
Looks like it'll be a race to the clock with Billy. Of course, he has to pick up some first downs also. I think in general you can say if a team has to pass more than 30 times, they're generally a losing team.
Well, Fran threw 47 against the Bears this year, and we lost that one. There's a pass. Caught by Fugit. Penalty flag thrown. He's knocked out of bounds at the 23-yard line by Autry Beeman. And the penalty flag was thrown and the ball was in the air. It may have been an interference call. 35-13. The score. The Vikes lead. Will pause for station identification.
This is WCCO, Minneapolis and St. Paul at 8:30. 1 minute before 3, 42 degrees.
Against Minnesota.
Well, I guessed right on the penalty for a change. Pass interference on the Vikes. McNeil comes back in. Now the Redskins get a first down. And now the ball is moved to the 30-yard line on a defensive pass interference call on Autry Beeman.
They apparently ruled then that Fugit did not catch the ball, and I thought that he had hung on.
I did too. Now the Redskins are huddling at the Viking 40-yard line. It's first down on the Minnesota 30-yard line with a minute 19 to play. Redskins have 2 timeouts remaining. Jefferson comes wide to the left. Grant wide to the right. Kilmer going on everything on first count. Swings it out of the backfield. Caught by Calvin Hill. Nate Allen over the shoulder pads. Ran him out of bounds at the 17-yard line. Another first down. And they're making it look rather easy now. A 13-yard pickup. First down. And they spotted at the Viking 17-yard line. One thing about this, Grady, you hate to see the defensive unit give up so much yardage just for the statistical record because it means absolutely nothing at this point. But they have to get some valuable playing time for some of these backup people.
Yeah, I guess the puzzling thing is that they're allowing the Redskins to catch the ball on the outside and get it out of bounds. I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of completions, but in the middle.
Again, Kilmer back to pass, swings it out in the right flat again, caught by Hill, out of bounds at the 11-yard line, but I think a penalty flag was thrown, and that could be an offensive holding call.
Well, I think the right tackle, George Starks, moved before the ball was snapped.
They're going to bring it back and discuss it with a minute 8 to go. Illegal motion. Right again, Grady. 5-yard walk-off against the Redskins. That'll move the ball back out to about the 22.5-yard line in Viking territory. Mooney Winston checks back in.
He'll keep him from getting that ball outside. I shouldn't say that because I don't really know what kind of defense they're playing, whether they're giving that up or not.
That was about a 5.5-yard penalty. It's now they're going to move it back. First and 15 for the Redskins at the Viking 23-yard line. They have taken out Nate Allen, it appears.
First down and 15.
Well, the Redskins break the huddle. They send Jefferson wide to the far right side. Frank Grant wide to the near side. Those two have gone all the way at wide receiver. Kilmer sets up deep to pass, being rushed. Now dumps it out of there, caught by Riggins. He's at the 20, hit and struggles to the 17-yard line. Roy Winston. One of the two Vikings in on the tackle along with Wendell Hall, who drew a beat on him first, and Kilmer was lucky to get that one out of there. Carl Eller put a great rush on him. Now the Redskins have used up their second timeout. They have one remaining with 59 seconds to go in the game. The ball at the 17-yard line, where it'll be second down and 9. And Kilmer now is 23 out of 46 for 282 yards. Well, he might get 50 pass attempts today.
Well, he'll have 3 more chances here. Not many people left in the east stands. You're seeing Kilmer walk. He appears to have. He walks with great difficulty. Appears to, at any rate. And
one leg is shorter than the other from that traffic accident that almost took his life early in his career.
Yes, it was back in the winter of '62 or the early '63, one of the two.
We told you about the passing stats for Fran and the rushing statistics for Foreman and McClanahan. White caught 4 for 64 and 2 touchdowns today. Rashad 1 for 35. Stu Voigt 4 for 42. McClanahan caught 3 for 29. Kilmer back to pass again. Rush throws it out in the right flat. Caught by Calvin Hill. And he's knocked straight up in the air and down at the 10-yard line. He did not get out of bounds. The clock continues to run.
Yay for Mooney. He made the tackle and kept him in bounds.
44 seconds to go. It'll be third down and 1. Redskins are going to pass again. Kilmer just throws this one out of bounds over Winston's head. And that stops the clock with 36 seconds to go. It'll now be fourth down and 1 at the Viking 10-yard line.
No, Grant made the catch, Joe.
Oh,
super catch.
I couldn't believe that.
Winston was in perfect position. He was in direct line. Grant's direct line from Kilmer leaped up, but the ball just was thrown over his head and just kind of dropped in, and Grant made a fine catch.
Well, that was an optical illusion if I ever saw one. Well, it's inside the 4. First and goal at the 3-yard line.
The fans are cheering for a goal line stand.
Well, they had 4 great ones during the regular season. Hill in motion to the right side on a slot left. First and goal from the 3. Rolling to the left is Kilmer, looking into the end zone. Touchdown, Roy Jefferson. And with 33 seconds to go, the Redskins will at least make it look respectable on the boards as they've scored their second touchdown of the final period on a 3-yard pass from Kilmer to Roy Jefferson.
Always hate to see a game go any longer than you think it should, fearing injury for the team that you're pulling for.
Well, this one would have been over at the half. Would that be the case?
Well, the game was still a contest back then.
Oh, yeah. Mosley will try for the extra point. Bison puts it down. There's the kick. Boy, he gets a lot of height on those, and it's good. 35-20 now. And both coaches predicting a low-scoring game gives you an idea what they know about it. Going in, that is. In fact, this is the highest scoring playoff game the Vikes have been involved in my 6 years up here, and maybe ever. I can recall that 23-20 comeback victory over the Rams in '69, which was an epic. 35-20 is the score in this one.
We beat the Cleveland Browns 27-7 that same year that we played the Rams. The year before, we lost to the Colts, I don't know, 24-7 or something of that nature.
I think I'm safe on that one. I say this is the highest scoring playoff game the Vikes have been involved in. Now Willis is back. You want to call him deep. He's at the 24-yard line.
No question, that's the short kickoff team. There's no man out there over 6 feet tall. And they're coached by Stubby Eason, who's 5'6".
And Mosley does hit this one onside, and a big pile-up at the 46-yard line, and Sammy Johnson fell on the ball, and he just barely beat Bob Brunet to it. Brunet was there almost at the same time the ball got there.
Excellent coverage. Generally, what they try and do is go down there and knock the receiving team, the first man, the closest man to the ball, they try and knock him out of the way, and then allow one of their teammates to pick it up.
Well, there's 33 seconds to go. The Vikes have it on the Redskin 46-yard line. The Redskins went 92 yards in 11 plays on that last drive. That was impressive, even though it was against the Viking secondary people. Johnson and Ron Gross is in the lineup. And Bob Berry, for the first time this year, hands off to Sammy Johnson, breaks one tackle, still on his feet, down to the 36-yard line. On a slant from right to left, he picked up 10 yards, and Bob Berry just handed off in a ball game for the first time this year. Too bad we don't have a player of the quarter thing going. We did have some fun with that one.
Second down and 1, and that's going to be the final play of this playoff game. And the Vikes are headed for their 4th NFC Championship game here at the Met a week from tomorrow. And the game is over. And the Vikes have celebrated an unseasonably warm and sunshiny mid-December afternoon with a 35-20 victory in the first round of the NFC playoffs over the Washington Redskins. Final score, 35-20, the Vikes win it.